Hey, what's happening, Internet? You're listening to the Nightwing 01 podcast, Batcast, Bat News, whatever you want to call it. Today I'll be diving into the Snyder Cut, the spoilers. So just read the title, listen to the verbal warning. This is spoilers for the entire movie, recounting as much things as I can. Also, please save super chat stuff till the end. I will not be stopping my conversation because I'll lose my train of thought, because I'm going to be talking about all 7 characters, be talking about side characters, and just like a lot of stuff. I got some bullet points, and I'm not really going to be paying attention to the chat until after I reach my conclusion. So yeah, I'll be doing a little Q&A, but I'm going to get started. So thanks so much for listening, and here we go, the Snyder Cut, full spoiler review. Let's do this. I love this movie. This movie is just a blast from start to finish. All the comparisons of a graphic novel are true. This is like your favorite graphic novel that is so long that you just keep turning page after page and loving it and being sucked into the world and enjoying the characters and being impressed by the story and your favorite heroes, seeing them do heroic things and rooting for them against the bad guy. And then it ends abruptly and you're just like, wait, that's it? When's the next graphic novel? I want more. Give me more. Give me more. You know, and that's what this is from start to finish. This is a graphic novel. This is a Lord of the Rings epic. This is DC's triumph for superhero films. I can't even really call this a superhero film. This is a superhero epic. Now, I had a lot of problems with Whedon's Justice League over the years. Now, I know, I apologize. My very first review, I was super happy to see the Justice League. I was great to have Danny Elfman back. And, you know, some of the jokes, I really didn't know how many there were. Apparently, there was 25 minutes of cringe that was added, and there were things that redubbed that look like a terrible YouTube dub video where they go through and they redub and basically riff track a movie. That's what Whedon did. And you can go back and don't watch the 2017 movie. Just type highlights of 2017 Justice League, and you'll see how bad it was. Like, honestly, all the characters are portrayed horribly. Batman was utterly humiliated and just like completely torn apart from his character from BVS. And Wonder Woman even mansplains him a couple times. The tension between Wonder Woman and Batman in the 2017 movie was supposed to mirror like Tony Stark and Steve, you know, like Captain America. That's why that random fight between Wonder Bat happened. Now, there are Wonder Bat moments in this movie that are, you can just feel the sexual tension, and you're like, oh my gosh, Zack is really pushing for Wonder Bat. And the way she looks at him and the way he looks at her, it's just like, oh my gosh, please make it happen. In the other movie, it's like, yeah, you could kind of get some Wonder Bat moments where she popped his shoulder back into place and she was trying to move on from the Steve Trevor thing, and maybe down the line, you could see them becoming a power couple. But I mean, this movie, the 2021 movie, just shows you that Wonder Bat is a huge possibility, and you don't have to worry about Batman essentially getting with Lois Lane because he is eyeing Wonder Woman and she's eyeing him. She's just trying to get over the stuff that happened. There's a cute scene that they brought back where they're discussing how they're both doing really bad at recruiting people, and they touch the mouse at the same time, and there's like this electricity between them. That was cut from the original movie, the theatrical cut, and it's in this director's cut. There's a lot of these cute little moments, and both characters are treating each other with respect. It's not Batman acting like a beta and Wonder Woman just like stepping all over him like some type of dominant. Like, they're both equal. They both treat each other with respect, and I love that. I thought it was great, and I could really see a relationship between these characters blossoming over time. And in fact, the Nightmare World, probably part of the reason why Batman is so sad too, is because Wonder Woman's not in his life anymore, which we'll talk about later. I'm trying to get into all the differences and what makes this movie better. So the Wonder Bat elements are in this, and they're fantastic. Characters that I did not like in the 2017 movie felt like a derailment of what the characters became later on. Aquaman, let's start with him. Aquaman in the 2017 movie is a comedian. He is trying his best to upstage the Flash and Cyborg, who were made more jokey, when I assure you, Flash was a little humorous in Zack Snyder's Justice League, but it was done tastefully. Whedon just let Ezra Miller go nuts and just be that, jokey Spider-Man character. I kid you not. I really feel like Whedon made Flash Spider-Boy with the dynamic between Batman and Flash. There's really no mentorship between Flash and Batman. Flash is a teammate who, Barry respects Bruce, but it's more of like they're a team, and you really feel that team mechanic. Whereas you could argue in Whedon's movie that Batman was mentoring Barry because Barry was scared. Barry didn't know how to fight. Barry didn't know all this other stuff. That's all garbage. That does not happen in Snyder Cut at all. But anyway, back to Aquaman. The Aquaman stuff just was super cringe, and I feel like some of that cringe carried over to the Aquaman movie. I believe that Mira kind of balanced that out, and Black Manta also made it so that Aquaman had to be serious, and there were some serious elements in the Aquaman movie, which maybe could be connected to the Snyder Cut, but I don't think so. So Arthur in this movie is amazing. I love him. But I want to talk about the 2017 film a little bit. So when Superman is brought back to life, Aquaman is like, there's something wrong with him. I mean, look at the way he's looking at us. I mean, that was all reshoots. Whenever they zoom in on Aquaman and he starts talking, in the original movie, the 2021 one, in the original movie, the in the Zack version, which is the original, Aquaman is just standing there poised for battle. Like, he's waiting for Superman to do something. And the banter between Flash and Barry just feels so weird now. If you go back and watch the theatrical cut, like the Whedon inserts, it does not work at all for this incredibly dramatic scene. And also the point that Aquaman was stealing from the Batcave in the 2017 movie, which he doesn't do anything, by the way, in the new movie. The fact that he is not as powerful or shown to be as powerful as Wonder Woman. They literally cut him from scenes of his fight with Steppenwolf from the original. And since Wonder Woman was the focal point of the DC universe at the time, Josh really wanted to highlight Wonder Woman against the battle with Steppenwolf. But Aquaman, believe it or not, was actually there fighting with Wonder Woman. In fact, they fight as a team. It's not a Dragon Ball Z thing like in the Whedon film where, okay, Aquaman's going to do this move, and Superman's going to do this, and Wonder Woman's going to do that. Until Superman shows up, the Justice League is actually fighting as a team. Everybody is doing something. Even Batman is trying to do something in Snyder's version. It's a team movie, okay? But the Aquaman stuff just felt really weird in the 2017 film, where he was sitting on the lasso and, spilling his guts. None of this stuff happens anymore. It was all garbage, and Zack knew it. His Aquaman is a very courageous individual who is sick and tired of Atlantis. He was abandoned as a baby, so he hates Atlanteans. He's had William Dafoe's character mentor him like about the ways of Atlantis, and it's William Dafoe, not Amber Heard, who comes to meet Aquaman in a place that was just, my jaw dropped because it was like, oh no, Zack did this. Now Aquaman is not canon. If the Snyder Cut is restored, Aquaman is now a multiverse movie because, and I'm just going to say this right now, okay, this is a major spoiler if you've seen Aquaman. The place where Aquaman is hanging out that he feels safe and secure and like it feels home-like to him, he is standing in front of the corpse of the king of Atlantis that is holding the trident that no one in Atlantis has to be the ruler of Atlantis. And that was the whole premise of the Aquaman movie, where they're traveling all over the world to find the tomb of the king of Atlantis. And here in the Snyder Cut, Aquaman is just hanging out like it's his, home away from home. And the moment I saw that, I was just like, oh no. Oh no. No, they didn't. There's no way. It can't be connected. It's impossible. You can't do it. Nope. You can't. Zack, what did you do? What did you do, Zack? You could have just maybe had Aquaman somewhere else, but you have to throw this scene in here. And now I understand why James Wan included that aspect in his movie, because it was a great scene. It was a great place for Aquaman to be, but they changed it and they had Aquaman fight this monster instead to get the trident away from the corpse of the king and stuff like that. But in this movie, Aquaman knows where it is. And that's how William Dafoe is able to find him. And Dafoe's acting is superb. Like, he should never have been cut from this movie because we get introduced to the character. We understand why Aquaman hates Atlantis. And it is the words of his mentor, the guy who's been teaching him the ways of the Atlantis way of life, so he can one day be king. It's because of this character that he goes and meets Amber Heard, and I love their interaction in this movie more than I did in the 2017 film, because in the beginning it actually shows that Mira is infatuated with Arthur, where over the course of the Aquaman movie, it took them the entire movie to go from that maybe they're interested in one another to I'm going to marry this chick. But you can see the chemistry between the two of them at the beginning in the Snyder Cut. Like he saves her life. She thinks he's kind of like this, bad boy ruffian person, but you can see where down the line, she's going to marry that guy and help him get rid of his brother, who's bad. Trying to, even then, they were talking about how the brother's trying to cause war with the surface. So they were already hinting at the Aquaman movie. Everything was orchestrated perfectly. If people would have just let Zack do his thing, there probably wouldn't have been an issue. But Aquaman, I don't know. I think he was like one of my favorite aspects of this movie outside of all the Batman stuff, which, believe me, I'm going to get into. But he killed it in this movie. He was great. He wasn't overly jokey. He was kind of a cynic when it came to working with the team. The whole scene between Aquaman and Wonder Woman originally, or not originally, in the 2017 film, where they distrusted each other because one was an Atlantean and one was an Amazon. Wonder Woman does bring that spiel up in the movie real quick, but Aquaman dismisses it and says, I don't really like Atlanteans either because they abandoned me as a child. And she's like, oh, well, and he says, I don't see why we can't get along. So he's actually the guy who bridges the gap between her essential racism between the Atlanteans and the Amazons, because she's the one who distrusts him. So that was interesting to see. And it was kind of like, oh, I thought Aquaman was the one that didn't like Wonder Woman. And nope, it was complete opposite. And it worked really well. They fought very well as a team. Aquaman's powers are phenomenal in this movie. He's so much stronger than he appeared in the 2017 film, which is probably why Ben Affleck had the joke, you just talk to fish. That was Whedon who did that, by the way. Does not appear in Snyder Cut. 2 viewings of this movie, I'm being honest with you, it doesn't happen, okay? Aquaman is responsible for killing Steppenwolf, essentially, before Wonder Woman decapitates Steppenwolf and throws his body through the boom tube, which was just, it was a beautiful moment. I was just like, okay, that's part of the reason this got an R rating, aside from the Amazons all being hacked up and stuff like that. But yeah, Aquaman was great. He wasn't too jokey. He was perfect. If anything, I like this version of Aquaman better than Jason Momoa's solo Aquaman. Like, if this Aquaman character could continue, I could see this guy becoming king a little bit more than kind of like Lord of the Rings, Wakanda, Atlantis, James Wan. Because, I mean, in James Wan's defense, he was combining story ideas that were canceled from when Snyder was fired and trying to incorporate the Whedon story as best he could, but he really couldn't. So he just has that one line like where Mira says, you fought with the League to defeat Steppenwolf, and now Atlantis is in trouble. That's like the only mention of the Justice League, whereas before there was probably a lot more depth to that. And who knows, maybe there will be again, but I'm not really sure. The Flash was another character that I felt like I did not like in the 2017 movie at all, and it just totally felt like Spider-Boy. Batman was portrayed to be a mentor originally, and it felt so weird. Also, the Flash's line about brunch is not in this movie, so don't worry about it. The Flash is a very confident, skilled superhero in his own right in the Snyder Cut. It feels like how he was introduced in the Suicide Squad, where he took down Captain Boomerang. That's the Flash that you see in this movie. Flash is able to tap into the Speed Force for the first time and literally saves everyone's skin by having the world turn back to normal after Darkseid basically kills everybody when the Unity happens and the mother boxes explode and terraform the Earth. It's the Flash, the lone survivor of the Justice League, who goes back in time, and I don't even think he realizes he goes back in time. That's how cool this scene was. Flash says he's going to change his own future, and he literally just saves everybody. And I mean, when I saw that, I was just like, whoa. Yeah, he runs like a goof still, like a cartoon character. But I mean, I have to give Zack credit. Like, he understands Flash character. They should have never cut the scene where Flash met Iris, because it's a beautiful scene. It's a great introduction to her character into the DC Cinematic Universe, which she's coming back, by the way. She will be in the Flashpoint movie in 2022. So you will see more of the chemistry between her and Barry because it's happening. She also knows he's the Flash, which, usually people don't see Barry when he saves people. So I thought that was kind of cute that he saved her. He stuck around for a minute. They were locking eyes and then he bolts off. So she literally knows he's the Flash. So that's going to be a fun movie to see. Hopefully a lot more of her, because I thought she did a great job. She should never been cut from the film. That was stupid. And Flash and Batman, I like that they're teammates and not mentor-student type thing. I don't know what they're going to do in the Flash movie. If they're using the 2017 film as an example, I hope not, because I don't want Flash Boy. I want Flash. I want Barry Allen to be his own character and not somebody who is just trying to impress the Batman. Also, interesting, in the Snyder Cut, Flash says that his hero that he looked up to was actually Superman, not Batman. Batman expressed interest and as a veteran was doing the Tony Stark thing, which Whedon had done. All the really weird reshots and things like that. To make it so that Batman was trying to help this guy who didn't know how to fight. He just pushed people, ran away. Over the course of that film, it was kind of like a hero's journey from Flash being this guy who has immense power that doesn't know how to use it, to, in the Snyder Cut, being a valued member of the Justice League who's just as important as Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batman, Superman, and Cyborg. That was so well done. And that was expertly handled, Zach. That really was. I'm just blown away about how much I like the Flash. Yes, the Flash joked around in this movie, but there was actually context to his jokes. It wasn't just him pointing the camera at him in the original movie and just letting him go off and be crazy and things like that. That's not what Barry did in this movie. The Pet Cemetery joke is gone. Belittling Cyborg's origin is gone, because Cyborg said in the 2017 movie, "So you were hit by lightning, right?" And Flash was like, "Oh, so that's what we're doing with my origin? And you survived an explosion." I mean, the way that they were talking to each other in the 2017 movie, it was just kind of like the Avengers film where people just argue for the sake of arguing, and then they get together and they save the day, and I hate that. There's really none of that in the movie. Everybody has their own reasons for doing this. Aquaman is there because it's his responsibility as the son of Atlantis to basically take up his mother's job, which was to guard the mother box and get it back. And Mira basically tells him he has to do that, and that's what he's doing. Flash needs friends and signs on to work with Batman. And, he's the comic relief in a very, very dark R-rated movie, but he's not overdoing it. And if we get this version of the Flash that we saw in Snyder's vision over the one we saw in Whedon's, I'm actually going to be happy. Even my wife said, I like this version of the Flash. I didn't like him before, but there's so much more to his character. There's so much going on between him and his dad. There were more scenes between Flash visiting his dad. And they got rid of a lot of the really weird cartoon moments, like where there's this really mean guy in line and Flash draws all over his face like a child. His dad is trying to push Barry away to forget about his dad and get his own life, fall in love, meet a great girl, get a good job, forget about his dad who's pulling him down. But there's an important thing that his father says to Barry that saves everyone, and that's make your own future, Barry. Like when Barry is saying his last words to his dad as Darkseid is erasing all of existence, and Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Cyborg, Aquaman are all killed during the fight with Steppenwolf the first time, Flash rewrites history without even realizing it. And it's his father's words that encourage him to make his own future. And without that crucial scene, which we didn't get in the 2017 movie, that wouldn't be possible. So yes, Flash is amazing in this film. And hopefully Ezra brings his A game for the Flash movie. But what worries me is that he is going to model his character after pretty much Spider-Boy from the MCU in his own Flash movie. Like he wants to make like this comedy drama multiverse movie. And, I hope not, because now that I've seen this version of the Flash, I want this version of the Flash that's a strong member of the Justice League that's not Batman's essential new sidekick with superpowers, and he's his own man. Now let's talk about Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman, if you've seen 1984 and then you watch this film, you're going to be like, that is Wonder Woman. I watched BVS before my second viewing of the Snyder Cut, mostly like the last hour and a half of BVS. So I started watching around 1 a.m. and then by 3 a.m. it ended right in time for the Snyder Cut. Although Snyder Cut did crash on me several times, which is good. So hopefully, Warner Brothers will pay attention to that and be like, wow, hundreds of thousands of people tuned in, or millions of people or whatever, because HBO Max did crash for at least 40 minutes the day that it came out. But Wonder Woman is a strong female character that is not really acting like, the Force is female type thing. She is a powerful superhero in her own right, and she works well with her teammates. Like, she's not trying to be superior to them. She's essentially a demigod. If you've seen the Wonder Woman movie, she's literally the daughter of the god. She has a lot of amazing powers, but she's a very humble and sweet person. It's almost like all along, Zack's vision was kind of like what Whedon did, where Wonder Woman is very soft-spoken and sweet when she popped Batman's shoulder back in his socket during the Whedon film. But you see more of this like kind nature that doesn't really want to fight people unless she has to. And she will go to war and she'll fight, but she wants to do everything she can to be kind to her teammates. And it just, I don't know. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this Wonder Woman. This Wonder Woman to me feels like the Justice League Wonder Woman from the 2000s. Like the old cartoon with Kevin Conroy and not Tim Daly, George Newbern, those guys, and Susan as Wonder Woman. It felt like I was seeing that trinity again. The dynamic between Wonder Woman and Batman, so sweet. Wonder Bat moments, so many of them. I really, really hope that there's going to be some type of thing between those two, because, I mean, it would be so great. I know that they're not going to continue the whole Batman getting Lois pregnant and the animosity between Superman and Batman again, like BVS, except even more so because Batman slept with his girl. All that stuff was axed. I'm pretty sure that the romance that they're trying to blossom on the Justice League would be between, if they do more movies, would be Wonder Bat, which is something that DC has teased around the idea in comics for the past, like, probably 20 years. Even a recent Batman issue, Wonder Woman appeared in, and there was some flirting and some other stuff that happened where she agreed to a second date because she had a lot of fun. She had to save Batman from Mr. Freeze, and it was cute. It was. I can't tell you the name of the issue because I just saw it offhand like a few days ago, but I thought it was pretty adorable. Wonder Woman is a incredibly strong character. You see her use her bracelets more, which has the powers of Zeus and the other gods in them. So very, very violent in the movie, but also she kicks Steppenwolf's butt on more than one occasion. But also at the same time, it proves that Wonder Woman too can be overwhelmed by an army of enemies. Yeah, she can easily take on Steppenwolf one-on-one, but when she's attacked by parademons and other forces, without the team helping her, she wouldn't be able to basically step up to Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf is no joke in this movie, but we'll talk about him a bit later on. Wonder Woman has more elements in the film where it shows her basically civilian identity, which is somebody in connection to archaeology and the museums. When Hippolyta lights the signal in Greece and Wonder Woman goes to explore, there was a whole lot more to her just finding the arrow. In Snyder's version, she actually goes and finds this hidden, I would say, like, not a base, but like a tomb of knowledge containing all the information about the battle where Darkseid came to Earth and lost. And then, of course, she goes to the Batcave afterwards, and she and Bruce sit down over a cup of tea, and she tells him that the war is coming. Like, the aliens are already here, and we need to prep for it. And I like that a lot better than in the 2017 movie where Wonder Woman and Batman go for a walk, and then he acts like a beta tool to her, and basically Wonder Woman just steps all over him and explains out of nowhere, like she's an expert about, the war that's coming and all the stuff, because she's like 5,000 years old and stuff like that. But at least in Snyder Cut's movie, they show her learning about it, and then she goes and confides into Bruce, who is very important to her. And I love that scene so much better. This is also the introduction of Darkseid for about 15 minutes. The battle is much longer. The Battle of Heroes between Darkseid's minions and the gods and the humans and the Amazons and the lanterns and stuff like that. It also shows how brutal a combatant that Darkseid was. He literally killed the lantern by slicing off his arm and almost actually took a power ring, which they didn't show Steppenwolf do this, but Darkseid was this close to actually getting his hands on a power ring. If it wasn't for, I believe it was Aphrodite or Artemis or something, like shooting him full of arrows, and then Ares, the god of war, with his axe, like mortally wounding Darkseid, which is why Darkseid later appears in the armor, is because he got his butt kicked on Earth, where he found the anti-life equation. So, I mean, that whole scene is so much better. And it was like watered down to, I think, a 5-minute battle or something in the original 2017 movie. I think Wonder Woman's exposition on that battle is very quick, whereas there's so many more elements to it. You get to see more of the Amazon's character. Wonder Woman has more time to explain the story to Batman, so he gets it instead of acting like an expert later on. And it was so well done. Wonder Woman basically disobeys Batman's orders in the movie to go save Batman with the whole team, like where he basically tells them, I'm going to go sacrifice myself when they're attacking Steppenwolf's base. All that stuff is written out. Batman doesn't even tell Wonder Woman what he's doing. She senses that he's going to do something stupid, and then she goes saves his life. And I appreciated that a lot more, because before they made her look like she was super worried about him the whole time, and also didn't like the fact that, a man can't tell me what to do. None of that garbage is in this movie. Like, you can tell that they actually care about each other, and he doesn't want to worry her, but at the same time, he has to take that shield down, or they're all going to fail at their mission at stopping the Unity. And Wonder Woman just picks up on, I think Bruce is in trouble, we gotta go. And I love that so much better. I love the fight. Getting into the base. I especially love that shot where the entire Justice League minus Superman is working together to fight off the parademons from the Batmobile, instead of like just kind of arriving to help the guy with no powers. It never felt like Batman wasn't a part of this team, whereas before it was just kind of like they're just showing how OP the Justice League was, and Batman was always getting beat it up, and kind of looking like a joke in this world of super beings. Like, he holds his own. Just like he did in the original cartoon show. But we'll talk about Batman later. Wonder Woman's fight with Steppenwolf was so much better in this. I love also how when she cuts off Steppenwolf's head, that she stares down Darkseid like she has no fear, because the Amazons have no fear at all. And then that exchange with Darkseid looking at Earth and claiming that, just because we don't have the mother boxes, it doesn't mean that we can't get to my prize, which is the anti-life equation. And Darkseid literally starts to move out his massive armada, which is what you see in the Nightmare world, where Darkseid forces have come to Earth. It doesn't matter how long it took them to get there, maybe 10 years, maybe 5 years, maybe a few months, who knows. But the entire Apocalypse army is in Earth's atmosphere, in the, the future thing. So he does come. It's just whether or not we're going to see it happen. I liked all the different teases to the events of seeing Darkseid triumph. Both Steppenwolf saw his own vision of not necessarily his death from the mother boxes, but he saw the demise of the Justice League if he was successful. Cyborg also saw the Justice League lose and killed off. He saw Wonder Woman's funeral. He saw Batman. He saw Flash. He saw all the people killed by Darkseid and Superman. And especially when he was trying to bring Superman back to life. I mean, there was just so much at stake in this movie that we didn't see in the 2017 film at all. Like, it just felt like a stupid superhero team up. The Avengers, the first movie, did it better. There was a lot of corn and stuff like that for their theatrical version. But I would say the better team up movie, where it actually shows people working as a team, is not the Avengers movie. It's this one. Like, I really do like the original Avengers movie, but if you can't compare the Snyder Cut's teamwork and the Justice League with their smaller team, and put it to the Avengers, because it doesn't work. Like, it actually shows that the Avengers struggled to be a team until like the very last 10 minutes of the movie, whereas the entire time of this film, after a rough introduction, they're working together to save the world. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Doesn't matter if they have different opinions, different ways of doing things. They all find a way of meshing together and working as like a one complete like clock in a sense. And that was Zack's vision all along, I guess. I don't know. There was only about 20 minutes of new footage, and most of that included Wonder Woman, Indiana Jones stuff, some Batman stuff, talking to a cameo character where Ben Affleck looks a lot thinner and a little bit older than he did in the movie. Most of the footage they shot was in between BVS and Justice League. Like, they were literally in London for a year or so. So, I mean, you can tell when some of the newer footage happens because Batman and Gal Gadot look a little bit older, like the actors do. And I think they handled that really well about having that be the end of the world things. Like when you see Wonder Woman die and stuff like that, and you see Batman in the Nightmare Earth, he's older. He looks pretty worn and torn and just kind of tired of it all. So, I mean, it would make sense that it would have been filmed last year as opposed to back in 2016 when they filmed it. So 2015, 2016. Wonder Woman. If you're a fan of Wonder Woman, you're going to love the movie. If you enjoy the Amazon aspect of both the Wonder Woman 84, a lot more Amazons are killed in this, but it also shows how they are a people with no fear, and they are going to fight the alien and try to save mankind when they don't even need to, but they know if the mother boxes fall into Darkseid's clutches, then the world is doomed. And they are the first line of defense in this movie. And based on the odds being so stacked against them, you were really rooting for them to win. Like, they were just insane. Okay, so since I'm a Batman channel, let's get into the Batman stuff. We've talked about Aquaman, we've talked about Flash, we've talked about Wonder Woman as much as I could. There's more I could talk about Wonder Woman, but it kind of bleeds into the whole Batman aspect. What I really liked about Batman is that he's not humiliated in this movie. He doesn't act like a cynic. He doesn't act like a guy that doesn't know what he's doing and always fighting with Wonder Woman, or, having people look at him like this is a guy without powers. Why are we listening to him? Type of thing. He is a vital member and the leader of the Justice League for a reason, and this movie shows it. He puts his life on the line several times for people that are much more powerful than he is. I mean, he's just a normal guy, and he's protected the Flash. He's gone in and helped Wonder Woman. He's been there for Aquaman. He is a valued member and leader of this group, and it shows. The interaction between him and Alfred is still pretty solid, but it's not like cringy anymore. Alfred is really trying to talk some sense into Bruce. In fact, the only person in this movie that really challenges Bruce about bringing Superman back to life is Alfred, because he's warning him, like, if you bring Superman back, I mean, things could go horribly, horribly wrong. Don't go charging the bull and wave the red cape at it. But I love Batman's response. He's like, in this case, Alfred, the red cape fights back. Alfred is the only obstacle that Bruce Wayne has in bringing Superman back to life. The League is united on their decision. And in the movie, in the Whedon one, Batman is the first one to kind of be like, okay, we need to bring Superman back no matter what. If there's a 1% certainty, and then he and Wonder Woman get into that whole stupid fight, and Aquaman is kind of against Batman, saying this is a bad idea. And then you just have Flash and Cyborg that are on Batman's side, and it just felt really dumb. Like, when I originally saw that scene, I was like, okay, I think there was something wrong with this, because you go back and you watch the original, like, Snyder's vision, and Flash is the one like, okay, nobody's going to say it. He's like, so we could use the mother box to bring Superman back to life. Then Wonder Woman says something, then Aquaman, and then Batman says, yeah, that's probably the best thing. But he's not the one to come up with that. And there's no arguing. They're all united, and they have some misgivings about it, but they talk it out, between each other. Like, Cyborg and Flash kind of talk it up as they're digging up Superman. And Batman, you don't really see a lot of him. He's kind of in Gotham doing his Batman stuff, and also in Metropolis. And Wonder Woman and Aquaman are the ones who go to Kansas to get the body of Superman to bring to Metropolis. And I like, the scene between Wonder Woman and Aquaman, which kind of already talked about. It was better handled in this movie than it was in Whedon's version, which just felt really weird. Batman also is a character that he understands everything that he needs to do, no matter the cost. I kind of talked about it a little bit, but the scene near the end of the movie where he takes the Flying Fox and goes into a suicide mission, it was totally out of the star-crossed episode of Justice League, where Batman basically takes the Watchtower and guides it to Earth, trying to sacrifice himself to save his friends and save the Earth. This is the heroic Batman that we see, which Snyder is trying to paint a portrait that this is a self-sacrificing Batman who will do everything he can to save the Earth. And I think that's the version that Wonder Woman is kind of falling for a little bit. So he is a guy who doesn't talk that much, which is something that I think is very important of a Batman character. He talked too much in Justice League. BVS, he talked when he needed to. I also like how he's kind of sarcastic again. The scene where Cyborg says, "I didn't think you were real," and Batman says, just like in that old trailer, "I'm real when it's useful." He just kind of talks to people a little bit when he's Batman. He issues commands a little bit. He is kind of like the supportive role of the group when it comes to all of their amazing powers and gifts. He's their building block that's holding everybody together until Superman can come back. I think the plan all along was for him to have Superman be the leader of the group, because even Batman realizes that Superman is what they need to survive, because he points out in this movie, the mother boxes for years have remained dormant because Superman was around. The moment he died, what happened? And then the rest of the league was like, the boxes awoke. And he's like, exactly. He says, "I don't know what's out there in the universe, but they're afraid of Superman, and we need Superman." End of discussion. And everybody was on board. He didn't do this stupid thing with Diana talking about science and all this other stuff. He also shared his intel with his teammates, whereas before Batman kept the Lois is the key bit to himself. He told Barry about time travel. He told Barry about Lois being the key. He told all the Justice League members the vital significance of Lois, and that's why Wonder Woman understood it. And all this other stuff made sense later on, whereas before it was just like kind of Wonder Woman guessed in the 2017 movie, the connection between Lois and Superman. All of that has context in this movie, and it makes a lot more sense. The scene with Batman versus Superman is a lot different in this movie. Like, Superman wants to kill Batman in the 2017 movie and, grab him by the face and slap him into a police car and all this other stuff. And, it doesn't happen in this movie. Superman doesn't talk at all. Like, when he comes back, he doesn't say anything until Lois arrives. That made a lot more sense because he's trying to figure out who he is. Also, I don't remember if in the 2017 movie, if Wonder Woman threw the lasso of truth on him and Superman started to remember who he was because of Diana's involvement or not. I can't really remember. But the scene where Batman and Superman meet and Batman is just kind of like, "Oh, crap. He's not looking at me like we're friends." And the League is doing everything they can to protect Batman from Superman. And Wonder Woman is the last line of defense between Batman and Superman. And Superman doesn't mess around. He doesn't go up and grab Batman by the face and slap him and, do this whole, "I remember you. Why'd you wake me up? You don't give me any, respect in life or death." All this stupid stuff that Whedon did to, again, make superheroes fight before they can become BFFs. Like, this is a truly scary moment. And in order to understand the context of what this original scene was, it has to go back to an Alfred and Batman scene where Alfred is so worried about Batman fighting aliens that he develops new technology in the Batcave, which they actually show. So Alfred is a technical genius in this universe, if you didn't know. He is very well known with nanotechnology, robotics. He's an engineer. He's a medic. He's a great team maker. He's Alfred. Alfred is always Batman's superpower. So Alfred re-engineers Kryptonian technology to act as a special shield for Batman in the form of his gauntlets. In the trailer, people are like, oh, Batman is using his gauntlets to shoot people. That's not necessarily what's happening in the actual Snyder Cut movie. The gauntlets act as a way to soak up the energy of the alien technology, both Apocalyptan and Kryptonian, and Batman is able to charge up the gauntlets and catch that energy and fire it back if he needs to, like disperse it. But the whole point of the gauntlets is basically to keep Batman alive, to shield him from alien weaponry. And this scene comes full circle when Batman and Superman meet up after Superman is resurrected, and he shoots his lasers at Batman, like his heat vision, full force, and Batman is able to withstand most of that using the strength of his gauntlets. And the gauntlets do blow up, by the way. Batman has to take off one of the gauntlets and it explodes over to the side. But Superman never goes in and grabs him and yells at him and all this other stuff. And Batman never, tells Alfred, bring the key. Lois was actually just conveniently there. Lois was walking around because every morning she goes to the monument and gives a police officer some coffee who's watching the monument, like making sure nobody disturbs it. Then she sits in front of the broken Superman monument and she sips her coffee every day. So she had a routine and she just happened to be there, and she stopped Clark from essentially vaporizing Batman, which is what he did in the Nightmare World. He just kind of turned Batman to ashes with his heat vision. So Lois saves Batman, not the other way around. Batman bringing Lois in, which I kind of liked a little bit better because it showed that Batman can make mistakes, and Batman wasn't planning on Superman to come back as basically a pet cemetery, like a zombie that was going to wipe everybody out. Also, they show context to why Superman goes a little bit crazy. At first, when he comes back, in the Whedon version, they rush that, Cyborg, of course, shoots Superman and they fight. But Cyborg explains what's going on. His suit is reacting to Superman's fear, and the suit thinks that Superman is a threat. So then Cyborg's body, as a defense mechanism, fights back against Superman, and that causes Superman to go into a murderous, defense. And he never talks. He never talks until Lois shows up. So it added a lot more intenseness to the scene. The music also, it wasn't like this really weird version of the John Williams Superman theme. It was, Junkie's theme from Man of Steel and Hans Zimmer, but it was done in a way that was super creepy, and you just couldn't take your eyes off it. You were like, whoa, this is super impressive, right? And it was, I was blown away by it. There was still the funny moment where Superman looked at the Flash, but yeah, absolutely great. There's more of Commissioner Gordon and Batman stuff in this movie, which I won't really spoil the interaction, but it shows a lot more that Jim is just kind of like, this is weird, him hanging out with all these super beings. He just kind of sighs and rolls his eyes at the end. I thought that was like classic Gordon. Like J.K. Simmons made me really like his Jim Gordon as opposed to the one that we saw briefly in the Whedon version. I love how J.K. Simmons played Jim in this, and I hope that we get to see more of him in future DC cinematic films, but his contract might only be now for the Marvel Universe. I'm not really sure. But yeah, Batman, Alfred, all fantastic. Batman no longer kind of the joke of the movie. All those stupid scenes where him, like after Superman beat him up, saying, oh, something's bleeding, and, moving around like, oh, and then Wonder Woman putting his shoulder back into place, even though his shoulder didn't really get damaged. None of that. Like Batman literally gets thrown up against the police car, like from Superman's heat vision, and, he's walking around fine. Wonder Woman doesn't really ask him how he's doing. They have their own little moments that aren't really connected to that. They're not fighting with one another. Especially the scene where Wonder Woman and Batman in the 2017 movie, there's this tension between the two of them as Batman is overlooking the mission. Wonder Woman was with the team the entire time. Like she was overseeing Superman's body being brought into Star Labs. She was never there behind him while he's basically scouting the area in front of the Kryptonian ship. So none of that happened. That was all reshoots, and it just felt weird to have this unnecessary tension between Wonder Woman and Batman when it never happened. So don't expect Wonder Woman to show up on a gargoyle next to Batman. It's never going to happen in this cut. It doesn't make sense. Bruce Wayne is a very fun character. He's a very heartwarming character in this movie, but also he can be pretty hardcore too. His interaction with the Flash is the same. Flash says, "My second favorite chair." Bruce throws a batarang at him, like really with hardly anything. He only utters a couple lines with Barry. He says, "Wow, you're fast," and Flash says, "That's an understatement." And then Flash would talk about brunch and stuff like that. None of that happened. Their meeting is very quick. Excuse the pun. Bruce maybe has like a few lines, which makes sense for his character, but he's not like trying to be that Tony Stark, like jerky billionaire. When he meets up with Alfred at the very beginning of the movie after meeting Aquaman, and Alfred is freezing his butt off, waiting for Bruce to get back, and they're talking about stuff, it generally felt like a father and son, joking about like a failed business deal. It wasn't like, Batman acting like this high and mighty billionaire, and Alfred is the one that suggests they should go look for the King's Tide like all over the world and stuff, and Batman's like, "No, I met him. He said no." And Alfred's like, "Just like that?" He's like, "Yep. So let's go back to Gotham and try to find this next person." It's all business, and they're seen in the airplane is much better. There's a lot more, I guess, discussion points between the two about, what Batman is like after this. One of the key differences that I need to explain about Batman is in BVS, he was a cynic. He hated Superman up until, Superman gave his life for the world and stuff changed. There was a progression to his character from the grumpy BVS Batman that we saw to what we get in Justice League. And Batman is becoming a character that's more filled with hope. In fact, he even says on numerous occasions to Alfred, instead of like a scientific approach to things, he's trying to have faith. He's trying to hope for the best, that Superman coming back is going to save the day, and that they're going to be able to save the world. And before he leaves on the Flying Fox, there's this great little exchange between Bruce and Alfred, that Alfred is like, "Are you sure that Superman's going to come?" Because Alfred is kind of the cynic, like the human approach to this whole thing about, aliens from space being the saviors of the planet. And Batman is the one who says at the end, "I'm going by faith, Alfred. We're going to go do our mission. And Superman, I hope he shows up, but we're going to do our best to save the world." And I liked that. I was like, wow, this is a change to Batman's character a little bit, but also it shows that Batman is a very kind person. Aside from branding people and doing all the stuff he did, I saw moments of the animated series Batman in Ben Affleck's performance that I kind of saw during BVS a little bit, but I didn't see in the 2017 movie. I saw Super Friends Batman mixed with Val Kilmer and a little George Clooney and a dash of Ben Affleck. In this movie, I see Ben's Batman actually act like Batman, and I see some Kevin Conroy in there, and I see some comic book DC Batman stuff. And I loved it. I could probably do a 20-minute video just talking on Batman, but there are other characters to this movie, so we're going to move on. We've already talked about Aquaman, Flash, Wonder Woman, and Batman, so let's talk about Cyborg. Cyborg is the heart of this movie. Like, no argument. We get his backstory. We understand his struggle of being human and alien technology, more so than we ever got in the original movie. He just felt kind of like an angsty teenager who was mad at his dad for saving his life, but there was so much more to it. We finally got to meet his mother, who was killed in a car accident, which made Victor the way he is. We also saw that Victor's dad wasn't necessarily a deadbeat dad. He was someone that was always stuck at work, and he wanted to be there for his family. And his mother was always telling Victor, your dad does love you, but he just can't get away from work. And sometimes that's just not possible. And you can relate to that. But she was kind of that like soft, gentle aspect of the father, like trying to smooth things over the way a mother would. And Victor, he doesn't really hate his father the way he did in the 2017 movie. He is mad at his dad, and he's disappointed in his dad that he couldn't be there for his biggest moments, like his football game, which was amazing. We finally get to see that. And it makes me, kind of want Zack to make a football movie sometime, because that was really cool to see. I like the football scene in Snyder Cut more than I like the football scene in Dark Knight Rises. Like, it was expertly handled. It's a wonderful shot. And when Cyborg is explaining everything to the Justice League later, his origin, I mean, it made me cry. It did. The first time I saw it, there were tears. I was just like, oh my gosh, Ray's performance is fantastic. So, I really hope he comes back as Cyborg. I hope that he can find a way of working with Warner Brothers again, because it would be a disservice to fans to be without Cyborg. You can't give in to every single actor's demand. There has to be some type of common ground that you guys, both the executive branch and the actors, are able to come to, because, I mean, these characters need their shot in the sun. And Cyborg needs a lot more. He needs his solo movie. He needs so much, because I don't know. I loved Cyborg in this movie. To me, this Cyborg, you know what it feels like? It feels like an R-rated version of the 2003 Titans cartoon show. That was the last time that I remember Cyborg actually having any type of human emotion still. He had, hopes and dreams and fears and worries, and that was all explained so well during the course of the Titan show, right? In this movie, Victor is a very human character and not robotic, even though, like, his voice sounds like Batman when Batman is using his, his robotic thing. Cyborg also sounds like that. He has like a very robotic sound to him, but he's also very human in how he approaches things. He's learning how to be who he is, and it's all thanks to his father. And he doesn't like his father in the movie. And there's a turning point. Like, he's encouraged to do things by himself and to stop moping around and make something of his life. And we're explained how powerful Cyborg is. Like, he literally can control anything on the planet with a single thought. I don't know about you, but I didn't see that Cyborg in the 2017 movie. It just felt like he was kind of like Cyborg's introduction in the Superpowers team in the cartoon years ago. And I'm talking like 1980s Cyborg, like kind of jokey cartoon Cyborg. That's what we had in 2017. This guy is a valued member to the team, and he is important to saving the world. You can't save the world without Cyborg. Without Cyborg, the world is doomed. The unity is going to happen, and everybody's doomed. And Cyborg is the one that makes it happen. Cyborg is someone who is very tactical in this film. He is very logical. He also has his concerns about stuff. When they're bringing Superman back to life, he was totally on board with everything. And then when he merged with the Kryptonian ship, Superman's ship warned him about what their mother boxes were capable of. And they showed him a glimpse of the future where the Justice League is all killed. And, everybody's killed. Like, Batman doesn't survive. Nobody survives. Superman and Darkseid kill everybody. Darkseid uses the anti-life equation on Superman, and just, all of humanity is wiped out and ruled. The survivors are ruled by survivors are ruled by Darkseid and Superman, who becomes like an acolyte for Darkseid, because Lois is killed by either Darkseid or something. I don't really know. But Superman, apparently in this Injustice universe, wasn't aware that Batman knew that Lois was a key. And, if Superman would have known that, then he probably would have protected Lois and stuff like that. So Cyborg, right before Flash is running across the other end of the ship, in full control of his powers, knowing what he's doing, Cyborg, I believe, if I heard this correctly in my second viewing, he does not say, "Go, Barry." He says, "No, Barry." And Barry hears the signal, thinking that it's time for him to run at full speed and jumpstart the mother box and bring Superman back to life. But there's fear in Cyborg's voice, that he is concerned that this is what's going to happen if Superman comes back. Like, they may win this battle, but they're going to lose the war. And there's literally fear and humanity in Cyborg's expression that we did not get in Whedon's version. Like, Cyborg was a very Tin Man approach in Whedon's version. He was essentially a robot, and people made fun of his performance. You cannot be a human who reviews this movie and tell me that that is the same Cyborg that you saw in 2017, where you said terrible things about Ray Fisher's acting, because the man can act, regardless of what he believes politically and how he's a little bit of a diva when it, but who isn't in Hollywood? You have to give props where props is due. And Ray Fisher knew what he was doing when he brought Cyborg to life. And everybody needs to respect that, because I respect that. I respect the man's craft. I may disagree with how he goes about some things and, some of the stuff he says, but I respect him as an actor, and I respect him as the first real live action Cyborg, because I'm pretty sure the Doom Patrol guy came after. There might have been some live action Smallville characters too, but this was the first live action Cyborg in the movies. And this is the one that matters big time. And this movie shows it. So, I love the hero's journey for Cyborg in this. He doesn't change the way his suit looks like at the end of Whedon's version. Of course, his dad's not there anymore. But Cyborg does his best to be a hero. He learns how to use all his abilities. He learns how important his place is in the world. And it was so great to see. I also love how he hacked the Bat computer again, but there was actually more to it this time. And how he was not really ready to work with the team. Before, it's kind of like he blew off the team until his dad got taken by the parademons. But you could see that there was an inner struggle with him, because he saw people that were similar to him, and he was looking for a place to belong too, and he found it, and then he saved the world. He was responsible for bringing back Superman in a sense. If it wasn't for Cyborg's very well orchestrated, detailed plan about how to do it and how to fuse with both the Kryptonian and the mother boxes, then the Justice League would not have been successful without Cyborg. It just wouldn't have happened. And I hope people understand that. It's not the same movie from 2017. All the characters are completely different. And this is the movie that we should have gotten. They should have been like, you know what? It doesn't matter if it's an R-rated film. It doesn't matter if this is pretty dramatic and intense, because it crossed the finish line in a way that was satisfying. Like all the characters did. I do not dislike any of the characters in Snydercut's Justice League. I even love Lois Lane in this movie. Lois is not just a thrown-in character that basically had a cameo from BVS. She has important scenes in this. She is going through a horrible ordeal from losing the man she loves, and you feel that. Whereas before, you don't know how much time has passed in the Justice League movie, like the Whedon version. I would guess probably maybe a few months. I don't know if it's a year or if it's like a few weeks, but Lois is in mourning. Lois hasn't been back to work. She didn't do the Whedon thing where she just showed up and she was going back to work like nothing happened. Oh, my fiance's dead, but I'm a strong feminist woman and this doesn't bother me. No, Lois is a human being with so many emotions and sadness. And you watch her just, I don't know. I felt something stirring in my heart when she was looking at Superman's Clark's box in her apartment, and she was given his cape that had the hole in it from where Doomsday, or Quasimodo Doomsday, killed Superman. And I don't know, it was just like the emotion of that scene and just the weight of what Lois is going through. Like for a minute there, I forgot that I was watching Amy Adams, and I thought I was watching a grieving Lois Lane. I mean, that Zack succeeded in making me care for Lois. Before I didn't. Before I was just like, oh, Lois is just here to, further some type of feminist agenda or whatever. And no, that's not what Lois is in this movie. Lois is somebody who is going through a horrible separation from her and the person she was going to be with, her, what she thought her entire life. And she's doing her best to try to cope with it every day at the same time. I think the time that Superman died, she goes to the monument. She gives the police officer their coffee. She sits there and she remembers things. And then she goes back to her apartment and she just kind of holds herself up and, away from the world. And the same time every day, she gets dressed. She goes out, she smiles, she acts like she's normal. And then she goes home and she's broken again. And the Martha scene, where Martha goes to visit Lois is completely different. Whereas before Martha went to go visit Lois at her job, Martha goes back to try to get Lois out of her apartment because she's concerned about her. And I think it's Martha's words, sort of, that stirs Lois into trying to get back her life. The final day that she's ready to not necessarily say goodbye to Superman, she never can, but the day that she's ready to try to move on with her life is the day that Superman comes back. I mean, you couldn't write a more beautiful moment for Lois in that aspect. So, let's get to the the Martha Kent aspect of the movie, because I'm sure there's a lot of confusion with this. I will just say this right now. I'm going to debunk a lot of stuff that's on the internet about the Martha Martian Manhunter thing. Martian Manhunter is not Martha Kent the entire uh like lifespan of Superman's existence. That's not true. That is utterly debunked. Even the director and people involved with shooting the Martian Manhunter scene, he is posing as Martha to get to Lois because he's concerned. He has been watching ever since Superman died, and I'm just gonna say it right now: John Jones is a coward in Snydercut. He later, as some things that he's able to come to grips with and realize that he can't just be watching from the shadows anymore and trying to help the world the way he has been as a army general or whatever, from Man of Steel through BVS and Suicide Squad and all this other stuff. He can't watch from the sidelines anymore, and I didn't really like that aspect of Martian Manhunter, because there's no reason that he couldn't have joined in and helped. I mean, maybe for budget reasons, but the original tagline of the movie back when they were promoting it was Unite the Seven. The seventh member of the Justice League was supposed to be either Martian Manhunter or Green Lantern. Unite the Seven was always 7 founding members of the Justice League. Now, there's some rumors going around, which may or may not be true. I've heard these as well, that people found out about Green Lantern being in the Snyder Cut, and Zack had to cut him out of the movie completely. I don't know the actor who played Green Lantern. We'll probably hear about it in 5 or 6 years if, this universe isn't continued. But Martian Manhunter had a minimal role in Zack's original vision. He never really met up with Batman or anybody until much later in the Justice League storyline. Like, Martian Manhunter by Zack Snyder was a coward. There's no easy way to say that. He was a guy who was just watching from behind the scenes up until Justice League Part 2, where he becomes a member of the League along with Green Lantern. Like, Martian Manhunter was always supposed to join, but he was not the core 7th member. He was a guy that, lone survivor of Mars, he's trying to hide out on Earth, and he doesn't want to draw attention to himself, because there was going to be a whole character arc involving Martian Manhunter, dealing with a lot of stuff, being the sole survivor of his race and not wanting to basically die and have everything change for him, and it would come full circle for him over the course of many different Justice League films and probably spinoffs. And Green Lantern was going to have a huge aspect of Justice League Part 2, and he was supposed to show up in the Nightmare World. Joker was added in place of Green Lantern. Green Lantern was going to kind of be the antagonist, messing with Batman, and not Joker. And Green Lantern would have died in the Nightmare World, and it was probably going to be Hal Jordan. It wasn't going to be John Stewart. So we don't know who was going to play Hal Jordan. People say it might have been Ryan Reynolds to kind of get justice for his Green Lantern, but we don't really know. There's some leaks going around that, Zack Snyder had to pull Green Lantern from the film because of leaks, and Martian Manhunter was added like 6 or 7 months ago. The plan was always Green Lantern. The storyboards called for Green Lantern. The Martha Kent thing, I probably called her Martha Stewart. It's like 3 a.m. I've suffered like a migraine for the past like 12 hours, so I'm not all there. I'm trying. This is a long spoiler thing. But the Martha Kent transformation into Martian Manhunter was always the plan. And the general to be transformed into Martian Manhunter was always the plan for Snydercut. Like going all the way back to 2015, 2016, there was supposed to be something where you saw his eyes turn red in BVS. Like he turns away from people after they nuke Superman, and then his eyes were supposed to turn red. They could still add that to the next cut of BVS if they want to. I think that would be a lot more interesting. But maybe, I don't know, it's fine how it is. The CGI for Martian Manhunter looked kind of bad. So when they release this on DVD and Blu-ray, they should probably polish that up because the CGI for Martian Manhunter doesn't look very good. I'm happy for the actor who gets to play Martian Manhunter, and I want to see more of him. I like him, but I don't like that he's a coward. I really had a problem that he knew all this stuff was happening, and he was meeting these different characters ever since the Suicide Squad and before, and he still did nothing until, you know, the world was literally wiped out. And John has the ability to foresee the future and things like that. So he would know what was going on with the merger of the mother boxes and stuff like that. So that I didn't like about the movie. I didn't like how they did Jean's character. But again, the introductions of these characters is never really the best. I didn't like the introduction of the Justice League in BVS, like through the computer screen. So I didn't like some aspects that we've seen of Jean over Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League. But I have room for his character because I love his interaction with Bruce Wayne at the end of the movie. I like how charming he is. I like how funny he is in a sense, and how awkward the scene is. Like, you know, getting a new employee to come on board and just kind of like, well, I guess I'll see you later. By the way, my name's Martian Manhunter. And Batman's like, oh, okay, that's cool. You know, that scene is a little cringy, but also I think at the very end of the movie, it's really interesting that you do have a character fly away full of hope, smile for the camera sense, you know, Christopher Reeve style. So I thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, I'm totally debunking people's theories now that Martha Kent was always Martian Manhunter. If that was the case, when Superman's mom was kidnapped and Batman saved her from the fire, Martian Manhunter would have freaked out if he was Martha, because the flames from the flamethrower that exploded, Jean is afraid of fire, so he would have broke his cover back in BVS, and Batman would have probably killed him because he didn't really like aliens at that point. He was there to save Superman's mom because, you know, why did you say that name? The whole Martha connection. But if Martian Manhunter appeared in front of him as posing as Superman's mom, I don't think Martha would have gotten away unscathed. So no, it's not true. Martha Kent was never Superman's mother throughout the series. So that theory just needs to die a horrible death. It's not true. And Zack can even debunk that as well. So yeah, that's what I feel about Martian Manhunter. Let's talk about, I feel like we're leaving out Superman. So let's get into the Superman stuff before we dive into some of the other stuff. Superman in this film is exactly what you want Superman to be. All the naysayers that did not like Man of Steel and Henry Cavill's arc as Superman, shut up, because this works. We don't see a Superman that's hesitant about what we did in Whedon's cut when he came back to life. He was just kind of like, I really don't want to go do this. You know, I'm worried that something's going to happen. You're my whole world. And they kind of make Superman kind of like, well, I mean, it's my job. I got to do it. Superman understands that he was brought back for a reason. And he immediately, after, you know, he hugs his mom and he tells his mom he's okay, and he tells his future wife he's okay, he leaves. He's gone. There's no this awkward, you know, death is itchy and this weird ADR ad lib where Lois is like, you smell nice. I'm serious. It's like watching a YouTube dub video. If you go back and watch Whedon's, you know, really heartfelt scene between Lois and, you know, Superman. I love how they kept in the scene where he was like, I'll take that as a yes, because he sees her wearing his engagement ring. I love how, you know, she says in the Snyder Cut, oh, you talk. And he says, I didn't before. It made sense and to how he was resurrected. And, you know, he could talk again. It was like, you know, we don't know what it would be like to come back to life. So, I mean, I think they handled that a lot better in this version. And I love that farmhouse scene. It's so endearing, so sweet. You know, it shows that Superman's character, and also shows that even though he doesn't know what's going to happen by joining up with Bruce's Justice League, he goes anyway. The thing that I love the most too is the scene where he's walking through the Kryptonian ship. There's two aspects of the movie that was cut out originally. The scene in the Snyder Cut where they're bringing Superman's body back through the ship. The Kryptonian ship is responding to Superman's body. Like the Superman suit pops out all eerily, and even Flash remarks, it's like it's kind of eerie that the ship knows that Superman's here, and everybody's just kind of like, yeah. So I mean, the ship knows that Superman isn't really dead. He's just kind of like in his regeneration stasis, which probably would have taken hundreds of years. Although a lot longer because they buried him in the ground, so it would have taken a long time for him to, be that solar battery that he is and soak up all the energy from the sun. So I loved how the Kryptonian ship responded. And also when he comes back and he's walking through the ship and he sees his blue and red Superman costume, and he just has this look like, I can't wear this. He doesn't say anything. It's all in the look, how he's staring at the suit. And you're just like, he's not going to wear that. And he sees another suit off camera that we don't see. It's the black Regeneration Superman suit, although it doesn't have regeneration powers that we know. It's just a black Kryptonian suit, something that his dad wore. He wears it. He flies into space, gets a power charge from the sun, like directly like he did in BVS after being nuked. And it made me like Superman's character even more. He doesn't really talk a lot in the movie. He shows up, he helps the League, and he just shows the power difference. Like, if you thought the fight between Superman and Steppenwolf was kind of cool at the end of Justice League, you have not seen the fight between Steppenwolf and Superman in Snyder Cut. Totally different and way cooler. If you're a Superman fan and you watch this fight, you're going to be jumping up and down because Cavill slays it in this scene. Not only does it show how powerful Superman really is going up against a guy who is maybe somewhat middle Superman's full power, or maybe even less powerful than Superman, I don't know. But Superman is just OP. And he doesn't have a lot of cheesy one-liners either. He doesn't say, basically, I'm a big fan of justice and all that stuff that Whedon had him say, and just like really making Superman look like a joke along with the rest of the League. The scene in 2017 where Flash and Superman are being ordered by Batman to go save people, and Superman's like, slowpoke, and, Flash is like, oh, okay, it's on. None of that happens in this movie. Flash is busy building up force to use enough of his lightning ability to zap Cyborg into the mother boxes, while Superman is busy fighting Steppenwolf with Wonder Woman and Aquaman. It's kind of like, even when Superman shows up, he tries to work together as a team to stop a common threat. It's not like, Superman shows up and everybody stares in awe as he beats up Steppenwolf. Superman smacks Steppenwolf around, then Aquaman gets a stab at him, Wonder Woman fights him, and it's like they're passing the ball back and forth. It was kind of cool to see. I've never really experienced that in a team movie, as opposed to sometimes the Avengers where, Hulk and Captain America or Thor and Captain America would do some type of like heroic team up move. If Whedon was really trying to do the team fighting thing like in Age of Ultron and the Avengers, then why didn't he try to do that in the Snyder Cut? That's what I don't understand. Like, when he came back and he redirected aspects and reshot, he just kind of made solo fights for Wonder Woman and Superman against Steppenwolf. And then fear is what was responsible for killing Steppenwolf originally, or sending him back. All of it makes so much sense. Also, the fact that Superman wasn't able to prevent the end of the world and is easily vaporized with the rest of the world when Darkseid sets off the mother boxes. That was a really interesting scene to see Superman be disintegrated and then reassembled when Flash ran back in time. That was kind of cool. Even at the end of the movie, Superman doesn't feel worthy enough to wear the blue and the red costume yet. So he is wearing the Superman black costume that he had when he showed up again. But he's still being Superman. He's just, his costume's different because he's not ready to embrace the blue and the red yet. I'm sure over the course of the movies, he probably would again, but not right now. Because in the nightmare future, he is wearing the red and blue again. So, but that was something. Nightmare Superman, we don't really see much of compared to originally. He shows up with Batman's group, and they kind of know that they're screwed, and Joker laughs, and then Batman wakes up and meets Martian Manhunter, and that's the end of the movie. So, I mean, that stuff was all new scenes, I think. Although they might have had more Nightmare stuff they were filming for Justice League Part 2. I don't know. There's some scenes that did not make it into the Snyder Cut, which I can tell you. There were some things they cut out because the movie was originally supposed to be 4.5 hours as a miniseries. They completely cut the Dead Robin stuff. Batman was supposed to visit Dick Grayson's grave. That's removed. Batman and Alfred are supposed to have a scene showing Batman is a little concerned about Superman coming back, and he is looking over his damaged suit, like the BVS costume, like the one he wore, the iron one. And Alfred and or the Alfred actor Jeremy Irons said that this scene was shot and they didn't use it for whatever reason, probably because it's important to maybe future stuff. But it's a cool scene, and there are pictures of them standing in front of the suit acting with, you know, a scene that was shot, but it didn't even make it into the Snyder Cut. Maybe, I'm just spitballing, maybe the Robin, not sequence, but Alfred and Batman talking about Robin will make it into extended scenes for the Snyder Cut when it arrives on Blu-ray and DVD. Because there's at least 4 or 5 scenes that did not make it into the cut that were Batman-centered, Wonder Woman-centered, and Superman-centered. And when I mean Batman-centered, it took place in the Batcave. Some stuff about like the death of the League and Darkseid doing more. You do see Darkseid kill the Justice League, like in kind of like a brief glimpse of stuff. But it happens so quickly that you're just kind of like, whoa, this is like flashes of what could be. So yeah, Superman, he's in the movie maybe 25 minutes. Darkseid and Superman have about almost the same amount of screen time. And I know some people were questioning me. They said, you said Darkseid's in the movie for about 30 minutes. Well, he is. There's a 15-minute sequence with the battle of the old gods against Darkseid, where Darkseid is mortally wounded. There's at least 2 to 3 minutes of footage of him on Apocalypse sometimes. He appeared to Steppenwolf once or twice. So when you add up all these scenes, it equals about 25 to 30 minutes. If you're going that way. As well as his like brief cameos in different like glimpses of what the future Earth could be. So, I mean, he's still in the movie teased more than Thanos was over the course of the 20 MCU films before Thanos showed up. So you do get more Darkseid than Thanos in that respect. But not enough for me to really talk about all the stuff that Darkseid does. This is mostly the Superman stuff I kind of covered already. So there's really not a lot to talk about in that aspect. I loved his reintroduction. I love that he doesn't talk. I love that he just tears down Batman and Batman's like, oh crap. I thought that was awesome. The Lois scenes and Superman scenes are so sweet. If it wasn't for Wonder Woman's lasso of truth, I don't know if Superman would have been able to recover that quickly. He might have gone on a killing spree because of what Cyborg did to him. I don't know. So I feel like everything was handled like very artistically. It all mattered. Like, you can't remove the context of a scene because it doesn't make sense. Even the guard, the coffee guy, had a big role in this movie that he didn't have in the Whedon version. And I thought the cop was kind of cool. Like, he's just a sweet old man who's guarding Superman's tomb in a sense. And, you know, to see his story come full circle too was just a nice treat as a side character. Let's see. We've talked a lot about all the heroes. I believe I've covered all of them now. I don't really want to talk about Mirror right now. Let's save the Nightmare stuff for a little bit later. But let's go into Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf is a force to be reckoned with in this movie. Steppenwolf is pretty terrifying. He really gets that R rating when he's chopping up Amazons. But also, he's not like this bumbling superhero villain that you're accustomed to in superhero films. He actually has a purpose. He has been kicked out of Apocalypse because he withdrew from the world that Darkseid lost. Like, Darkseid got his butt kicked in the battle of the gods or whatever, and Man and stuff like that, lost the mother boxes and was, shamed, and has never forgotten the world that defeated him, but he doesn't know the name of the world. So as penance, Darkseid has basically Steppenwolf have to destroy 50,000 worlds in order for him to even approach the throne room of Darkseid again. And so basically, Steppenwolf, his own nephew, is cast out of Lord Darkseid's presence, and it's killing Steppenwolf. Like, Steppenwolf is basically reduced to just this minimal role in his world, and we don't know how long he's been scouring the galaxy, destroying world after world, but that's his job. He eventually comes back to Earth and discovers the mother boxes again after the death of Superman, and he is delighted. And he's not this guy that's just trying to overthrow Darkseid or whatever. In the Whedon cut, like, I think he mentions Darkseid's name once or twice in that 2017 movie. He's always talking about Darkseid, how he wants to get back in his good graces, and he will do anything he can to destroy Earth to please his master. So, I mean, that is a huge difference. The actor who was playing Darkseid, the actor who plays Steppenwolf nails it. This is a more believable villain. The villain has his own arc. Everybody has an arc. No character does not have an arc in this movie. Alfred has an arc. The guard has an arc. Even Ray Fisher's dad in the movie has his own important storyline. Nobody's left untouched. There's no way this couldn't have been a 4-hour movie, but it needed to be a miniseries because there's still more that we're missing from it. But yeah, Steppenwolf, I liked him as a villain. I actually, I liked him a lot more than what we saw in the 2017 movie, because I thought he was a joke in the 2017 movie. Sure, he was intelligent sometimes, like using the Nightcrawler's missiles to blow up the reservoir where the Justice League was fighting him, like in their first fight in the tunnel. That was pretty smart. But the way that he did it in the Snyder Cut, like, it shows how intelligent that Steppenwolf is. Steppenwolf is not too proud to flee from a fight when he gets what he wants. He likes to distract people when he got the third mother box. Like, he just let them fight Superman, didn't really care. And it felt like he was a very cunning adversary. And Darkseid, since he's related to this guy, Darkseid is even more of a bigger threat than Steppenwolf ever was. But Steppenwolf, he has a very intense ending. Superman breaks one of his horns in a very brutal way, and Steppenwolf still fights back. And then after the world is reassembled from the Flash running back in time, Steppenwolf is feeling renewed and ready to take everybody on, and then out of nowhere Aquaman stabs him through the heart, and I was just like, yo, what? And then, Aquaman throws Steppenwolf up in the air, and of course, Wonder Woman decapitates him. His head rolls at Darkseid's feet, and then Darkseid crushes his nephew's head and declares war on Earth. I thought that was so great, because, I mean, all Steppenwolf wanted was for Darkseid to acknowledge what he did and to get the anti-life equation and fulfill Darkseid's prize, which is the destruction of Earth, to get rid of that failure in his legacy as a conqueror. The difference between Thanos and Darkseid is Thanos wants the world to survive, like the universe, and Darkseid wants the world to burn. Like, Darkseid is not there to basically have the universe get rid of half of it so the other half can live. He doesn't care. Like, Darkseid has destroyed, in the movie, he says hundreds of thousands of worlds he's turned to ash, searching for the anti-life equation. We don't know how many worlds he's conquered previous to that, but he's a guy that you don't want to mess with, not in just their Earth. Like, I don't remember this, and I went back and I watched some of the scenes that had Steppenwolf from the 2017 movie. This movie mentions the multiverse in 3 separate occasions. It does. Darkseid says it, Steppenwolf says it, I believe Joker says it, like Elseworlds, alternate realities, and then I think Batman mentions the multiverse. I could be wrong, but they are teasing the multiverse in this movie, which they did not do in the 2017 film. They said universe. I guarantee you that Steppenwolf was talking about the universe, not multiverse. The way that Zack orchestrated this in his Snyder Cut, really goes in line with the vision that DC has now with the multiverse, because you can throw Snyder's verse into the multiverse and have it connect still, because Darkseid is an enemy that can show up anywhere in the DC multiverse now. Doesn't have to be fighting the Snyderverse. He could go wherever he wants to. And I think that's brilliant because, I mean, Ray Porter, Darkseid, is just, when he's on the screen, he is mesmerizing. Like, he is terrifying. Like, you do not want to mess with this dude. The only thing that I wish that they did with Darkseid is he doesn't put his hands behind his back, which is, you know, a huge trait that Darkseid has. And I know that Zack Snyder hates character traits and one-liners and their catchphrases. Batman never says I'm Batman. We're going to go probably our entire turn with Ben Affleck as Batman, even in The Flash. We're never going to hear him say I'm Batman. Never going to hear Superman say Great Scott or this is a job for Superman, any of that. Like we did in the Christopher Reeves movies, and even I think the Brandon Routh one, he said it too. I don't remember. So, you know, Wonder Woman's not saying Great Hera, any of that stuff. There were moments where I thought she was going to say Hera help us, like the Justice League show, especially when, you know, the world was being destroyed. But nobody, even at the face of death, like they don't do anything. They're heroic until the very end. They show no fear. They do their job and they risk their lives. I did not like Batman using guns again, but I mean, it's alien weaponry that he's using, and he is using the weapons on his Batmobile and his plane and shooting down aliens. He's not really killing humans in this movie. I don't really see him mess with humans at all in this film. So, I mean, I guess you could say there's some character progression from that, but for the most part, yeah, I really love this film. I could do a deep dive of it the entire time. So we're going to end by talking about essentially the Flashpoint World, or the Nightmare Earth. So after 3 hours of the whole Steppenwolf arc and basically disabling the mother boxes and destroying them, thanks to Cyborg and Superman, the League goes back to their normal lives, more or less. And Batman just has this weird dream where we're sucked back into the world of the nightmare, and we get to meet Batman's ragtag group, which is pretty interesting, consisting of Deathstroke, Mira, the survivor of the Atlanteans. We've got Joker and Cyborg and Flash in his armor that appeared in BVS, like when he was running back in time to tell Bruce that he was too soon, and Lois is the key, blah, blah, blah. We get, I think it's probably like a 15-minute scene of them interacting, and the only thing that was pretty awkward for me is I liked most of the actors in this movie, and regardless how I feel about Amber Heard as a person, I don't feel that she brought her A game as an actress in this. It was almost like watching Megan Fox try to act. She's a very beautiful woman, don't get me wrong, like Megan Fox, but her acting is just kind of meh. In this world, Aquaman is dead, of course. Wonder Woman's dead, and Martian Manhunter and some other people, probably Green Lantern, all dead. Survivors for the League are just Batman, Cyborg and Flash, and a rogue Superman that's the dictator of the world, and Mira, who's joined Batman's ragtag group to get revenge against Superman. If that was the case, then she would be holding a kryptonite, like, trident. She's not. She's lugging around 2 jars of water so she can use her water bending powers, since the world is basically a desolate wasteland. And her acting just really was, it took me out of the movie for the first time in the entire 4 hours. Her lines are very forced, very boring, and her interaction with Batman, like, she's trying to basically tell Batman that he doesn't know about loss. And it was a stupid scene. And then Joker, like, saves the scene talking about, oh, he knows about loss. He knows what it's like to lose a father, a mother. And then Batman's like, be very careful what you say next. An adopted son. You know, that gave me chills. But they cut more of his dialogue that we saw in the trailer. So I'm sure there was more scenes between Joker and Batman that we may get in an extended edition, because we don't even know what their mission is. Their mission was supposed to steal the kryptonite spear that killed Superman originally, because it was being held by Superman. It's the only kryptonite left on the Earth, is the spear that Batman has. So in this universe, Batman had the last chunk of kryptonite. Lex doesn't have it. And the plan was probably to turn the spear into bullets so they could kill Superman or something. I don't know. long enough so that the main priority that the Joker's talking about is sending the Flash back to erase stuff, but also it hints that Batman is going to die in this universe going forward. Like, even Joker says, in all the multiverse or Elseworlds, how many worlds turn out like this because of your selfishness? Because you let Lois die. So because Batman knows this in the dream, that means he's going to sacrifice himself when Darkseid comes to kill Lois. Because Darkseid knows that if he gets Lois off the board, Superman will be his puppet. Which I know Superman fans don't like, but that's where they're going with this story. You're going to get an Injustice miniseries, most likely. Cavill will be on board. Ben Affleck will probably do it because he loved coming back to do the reshoots, according to things that I've heard and other YouTubers and other press people, other scoopers. Ben Affleck had a great time shooting more of this movie and doing justice to his character and the friends that appeared in this movie. Everybody is happy that it filmed this movie right now. So if things go really well, and the Snyder Cut is successful, in a couple years, you'll probably get a miniseries or some type of announcement at Comic-Con that, something's going to happen with HBO Max. You're not going to get another movie in theaters. You can forget that. That's never going to happen. But HBO Max is very possible that some things could happen. But things are going to be very different because Snyder Cut does not connect to the current DC cinematic universe. It doesn't work with Shazam, doesn't work with Aquaman, doesn't work with Wonder Woman 84. It's its own separate thing, and if it remains its own separate thing that can later connect to something, that would be great. Like, it would be awesome to get a 4-episode miniseries of the Nightmare Earth and sending Barry back in time, and then having Barry going back in time connecting to the Flash movie that comes out in a year or two. Because there's no way you can connect this movie the way it ends with Martian Manhunter and go right into the Flash movie. The only way you could make it work is if, like, during the race between Superman and Flash, which they said, Superman and Flash were going to be in the Flash movie originally. Like, if you had them start the movie with them running at the end of Whedon, just spitballing, you could actually have Flash run too fast that he goes back in time and messes things up. And it's all about him trying to get back to his Earth, like traveling through the multiverse or something like that. You could work that in, but as for what happened in this movie, it's going to be really interesting how they do it, because Batman was not a mentor to Barry; he's a friend, But I pretty much think that's everything I can think of. A few scenes that remain, which apparently Zack Snyder did shoot, is they are going to turn Wayne Manor into the Justice League's headquarters. So that cute little scene between Wonder Woman and Batman was part of Zack's like romantic teasing of the characters. That's still happening. If they continue this world, the Wayne Manor will become the Hall of Justice, and Bruce will be kind of like the caretaker living in that glass house on the property, which is a little weird. Big change to the Snyderverse and DC in general if they ever do stuff with Deathstroke. They don't tease the Injustice League with Lex and Deathstroke. After Lex is broken out of Arkham, Deathstroke is just kind of there to get his payment and then leave Lex alone. But Lex is pretty much giving something to Deathstroke for breaking him out that changes the game. Long story short, Lex tells Deathstroke, who hates Batman, that Batman and Bruce Wayne are one and the same. And that is what makes Deathstroke very interested in how to kill Batman. And this would have been further expanded in Batman versus Deathstroke movie, which Ben Affleck was going to do. So the first series that I would suggest they do is a Batman versus Deathstroke film. Like, that's what I would do. Or miniseries, like a 4-episode miniseries on HBO Max, or maybe a 2-hour movie, because we need to see this happen. Deathstroke and Batman do not fight. I thought there was supposed to be an instance where Deathstroke and Batman fought in the Flying Fox or in the Batcave or something like that, and Deathstroke kills Alfred or something. But none of that happened. So I don't know if that was all just stuff that appeared in Ben Affleck's vision for what he was going to do with his Arkham movie. But, at the end, in this Snyderverse, just like in Whedon's cut, the Justice League is happy, and they're not really working together right now. They could be, but each of them are doing their own heroic thing. Wonder Woman is doing her thing. Superman is being Superman again. Flash is a hero. Cyborg turns himself into a hero. Cyborg is kind of lamenting on his dad's words and his last words because he crushed the tape recorder. And you know, it just everything just came full circle. I've seen the movie twice. I would watch it a third, a fourth time. I probably wouldn't watch it all in 4 hours. Again, I would break it up like over the course of a week and watch each hour separately or something like that, or each chapter separately just to really digest it better. I'm never going to watch it all 4 hours again because it's too much. So I think part of the reason I got a migraine is because I watched the movie 2 days in a row, plus I live streamed for 6 hours and then I did all this other stuff. But that's it. That's my spoilers of Justice League. I tried to recount that as best I could. I probably talked a little bit out of order, but I'm pretty sure I covered all the characters. Although I might have repeated points because this was so long. Oh, I think my mic cut out. Anybody there? After that. Testing 1 2 1 2. Hello, hello. Hang on. I think I'm here, but my mic is like super quiet. Mic is super quiet. I got it. All right, I don't know what's going on with the mic, but let's open up the floor to a couple questions. I also want to read the super chats that I got real quick. Iron Vader Sparrow said, "Peeped." Oh, okay. BK Batman 33, thank you for the super chat. Danny says, "Hi K-Wing, just found your channel. Justice League was epic and reminded me of a comic book. I love how all the members, especially Flash, have connections with their parents. Yeah, it's pretty cool." And SJ, thank you for the super chat. I like the shade Diana gave Alfred for Bruce's whole gauntlet idea. And the gauntlet idea actually saved his life. So, I mean, I can kind of see how that worked out. Proceed. It froze? Hello? Are we still here? Guys? I can still hear you. I'm listening back. Yeah, my mic cut out, guys. Sorry about that. My mic is not acting very good. I forgot to talk about Ryan Chow. I had a lot of stuff listed, but I don't think it the Atom. Yeah, the Atom was teased. Very excited about that, but I don't really want to stay around now because my mic's not working very well. Let me see if I can fix it. Okay, I see what happened. 1 second. I know what happened. Okay, that should help. That should help now. For whatever reason, sometimes when I've been streaming for what, an hour and 30 minutes, something like that, hour and 40. What happened is the microphone got switched out to the built-in mic. There we go. Yeah, you can hear me a little better now. That's what happened. Okay. So let's open up the floor real quick. Also read the super chats again. Thank you for the super chats from Iron Vader, from BK Batman 33, from Danny, and SJ. You guys rock, and I like the thing that with the gauntlets as well. And also how many of you guys like the scene with Alfred and Diana over the tea? Like where Diana wasn't pouring the tea properly, and Alfred is like having super OCD. And he can't even work on his project because he knows that she's not going to make the tea properly. And she's like, "Do you want some?" And then she's like, "Do you want some tea?" And he's just like, "Nope." And then he stops what he's doing and he goes over and he makes himself his own tea, and then he brings her tea and he explains to how to make the tea. I just thought that was hilarious. It's just like, oh my gosh. It's like, Alfred, dude, calm down, man. It's just tea. It's not just tea. It's It's tea, sir. You know, that was. See, this is what I don't understand. Whedon did not need to do what he did to the movie and basically record 25 minutes of jokes that would insert to the serious scenes, like where Arthur and Barry are going back and forth looking at Superman resurrected. That was stupid. This type of humor was intelligent humor that was actually kind of funny. Sandwiched between like some pretty dark stuff. I thought it was, it was great with Alfred's character, and it worked really well for Wonder Woman. But anyway, getting back to Ryan. Yeah, I like how they're teasing him as the guy who is going to stumble on the atom technology, but creating it by re-engineering the Kryptonian stuff as well as the Apocalyptic technology, and stumble into that stuff. I think that's really cool. I didn't talk about the atom much. I got to talk about everybody that I could, but I mean, there was just a lot that happened, and I really don't want to stick around too long because now my mic is just not working very well. So what I'll do is I'll answer a couple quick questions, and Amber, if I could borrow your phone, if that's okay.
Yeah, I was listening back to the things, so you can just.
Yeah, it all works now, but I mean it's still quiet.
My phone. Yeah, I also liked how the way Gal was, where she was just like. Didn't get mad at him or anything. She just was used to dealing with older people, so she just was smiled.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of characters didn't like Cyborg in the Whedon cut, and it's like, that was stupid. I will never ever watch that 2017 movie again, except for just like the parody aspect of the movie, like through YouTube.
The way that they changed Cyborg was so drastic that now I can understand why Ray Fisher acted the way he did, because basically, like what I was telling Luke was, basically almost every other character still had a few funny lines left in the Whedon cut. But Ray Fisher, they completely deleted all his good scenes and made him to the point where he was just peering out a window acting weird. They just deleted his entire character from the movie. So, like, I feel like what they did to Cyborg, Ray Fisher's Cyborg in the Justice League, was what they did to Han when they made Guido shot first. Like they completely changed the character. Like, for instance, in the Snyder Cut, Cyborg finds them. He hacks into Batman and, finds Batman and Wonder Woman, and he actually contacts Wonder Woman and is like, meet me here. Like, he's the one finding them. They don't need to find him. He can easily find them. But then, like, in the other cut, in the Whedon cut, like, they have to go find Cyborg. Like, he's hiding. He's not hiding from anyone. He's the one finding them. So it's just, they just cut out a lot. But they also cut out a lot of the Flash's scenes. They cut out a lot of everyone's scenes. And then they made Batman a mockery by adding lines. They cut out everyone's lines, and then they added stupid lines for Batman. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't think, guys, that if Snyder by miracle is able to continue, or Warner Brothers can continue the Snyderverse on HBO Max, because of all the leaked storyboards and everything else, I do not think that it's going to go the way that is in the storyboards. They're probably going to do the Injustice version. They're probably going to have Superman go crazy, kill Darkseid, kill the League, and then it's going to be Batman v Superman until Flash runs back in time and everything, They'll make Superman the villain of the movie. They're not going to do this thing where Darkseid is going to appear super powerful, and then everybody's going to see how powerful Superman really was, which is not in Snyder's version. Like, his storyboards do not call for an Injustice thing. It calls for a corruption from the anti-life equation. But all it took in the Injustice universe was for Superman to lose Lois and his unborn child. And apparently Zack Snyder has confirmed, which I forgot to talk about. I'm going to tell you right now. Zack has confirmed that Lois is pregnant in Justice League Snyder Cut. There is numerous instances where part of the reason why she's so emotional is because she has Clark's baby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and any pregnant lady would be emotional. Anyway.
Well, yeah, but also she's super emotional because her husband is dead. So.
And she's probably thinking like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a kid and my guy is gone."
Yep. So Zack Snyder confirmed the other day that Lois, the Amy Adams character, is supposed to be pregnant in the Snyder Cut. Like that's an idea that they took out for Whedon's Justice League. Like Batman's congratulations was just about them getting married, where his congratulations to Clark at the end of this movie is to hint at Clark's going to be a father, which was, people can take it either way, but Zack confirmed that. So if they go the Injustice route for just one movie or one miniseries with Superman as a bad guy, you're going to see him utterly destroy Darkseid after Darkseid kills Lois. It's not going to go the way that people thought in the storyboard, where we get to see Darkseid basically rule over Earth and Superman is kind of like his acolyte. Superman will literally kill Darkseid, and everyone's going to see how OP that this version of Superman was. But it'll only be for like one little miniseries if they decide to do it. And I know there's going to be people that'll be upset, but there's no way that you can go forward with the universe the way it is with all the leaked storyboards. They're going to have to change some things. And in order for the Nightmare sequence to make sense now, Superman would have to become a villain. He has to.
Well, I mean, he's already the scariest villain. To me, I mean, I don't know if we're doing spoilers or whatever, but to me, Superman was scarier than Steppenwolf and Darkseid combined. Like, people having to deal with Superman, he was the scariest thing in this entire movie.
I was wrong about Darkseid having his hands behind his back. I couldn't look the 4-3 angle. Like, I do not like the ratio that the movie was filmed in. It was really hard to see. Even like it took my second viewing of the movie to see the dead Green Lanterns next to the rubble of the Justice League headquarters. I did not see Kilowog my first time through. It was so dark. When I saw Kilowog dead there and like another like Green Lantern and Justice League bodies, which it looked like Martian Manhunter and some other people, I was like, oh, okay, but I had to literally pause the movie and brighten up my TV just so I could see. Like the 4-3 angle, that's how I used to watch TV when I was a kid in the 90s or the 80s. That's not how television is these days. So, I mean, I hope for the Blu-ray that they actually add a widescreen format, because I don't like the 4-3. I thought the movie was great, but I haven't watched a 4-3 show ratio television in probably 20 years or maybe 15 years. It just felt really jarring to me a little bit.
I watch old shows all the time, so
Amber watches old shows all the time, so I mean,
it really didn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love the lighting and the dark, like where everything is very dark, but you can still see everything that's happening. Yeah, I like the lighting that he had for the whole film. It was really cool.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, Blackwing, that Kilowog was in it, because that's the Green Lantern that was supposed to meet Bruce in the glass house, warning that Darkseid's forces were on the move. Whereas in this movie, Martian Manhunter tells Bruce that Darkseid could be coming. The Green Lanterns literally told Ben that Darkseid is coming. Like, he is mobilizing. And I think they were supposed to open one of the movies where the Green Lantern Corps is trying to prevent Darkseid from getting to Earth or something like that. And Darkseid wipes out most of the Corps or something. Do people not know how to use their TVs? Modern TVs can change the picture to standard. I don't really use a lot of features on my TV. Sorry, no. Did you think it was better than the Infinity War and Endgame? Parts of it felt better than Infinity War and Endgame for me.
I never watched Infinity War, but I watched Endgame. I can't talk about it. I don't want to get anyone mad, but I'm a DC person. I don't really like Marvel movies in general, so this was like way better than any Marvel movie I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is exactly what I wanted. Every time I watch a Marvel movie and I say I don't like this, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted, a DC movie. I wanted it to be not corny. I didn't want too many bright colors. I didn't want forced jokes. I didn't want people to like skew someone through and then be like, time to blow off some steam. I just wanted it to be cool and awesome and DC the whole time.
Am I going to watch it as grayscaled? No. I don't like black and white movies. I've seen the movie twice already as like a full 4-hour movie. When I watch it again, I'm going to be taking my time with it, and it will be, chapter by chapter, like an hour, maybe one day while I'm editing or something, an hour the next day. I don't think I'm saying that right now because 4 hours was quite a bit of time that I had to dedicate, and then I did it twice. I got a press screening late because I didn't check my email on time, and then the day that it came out, I watched BVS up to it, so I was already watching like almost a 3-hour movie before the Snyder Cut started. So it was a pretty long night, my second night, but I loved every minute of it. I started like right during the fight between Batman and Superman, and I just went right into the Snyder Cut, and it was like almost like a seamless transition right into it, except for the ratio. The ratio kind of like, it took me a while to get used to it, but I thought the story was perfect, and it didn't really bother me about the way that the movie appeared. But I'm not going to watch the black and white version, no. I am waiting for them to announce something with Ben Affleck and HBO Max because I don't know if you guys know this, but Warner Brothers has delayed a bunch of their stuff. Like, they need to do something that is going to keep people at HBO Max and at Warner Brothers, and Godzilla and some of the other movies they got coming out on HBO Max is not going to be that big pull to make people keep their subscriptions. They're going to need to announce something like within the next 2 months, or they're screwed. Because they've delayed all their games. Harry Potter is moved to next year. Gotham Knights is next year. I'm hearing rumors that Suicide Squad is going to be delayed till 2023. There's just all kinds of chaos that's happening. The Batman is still scheduled for March of 2022, but if there's problems finishing the movie, like in the editing phase, that could be pushed back. So, I mean, they need to do something that's going to take the heat off, like, a lot of their upcoming delays. If they don't do that, then it's going to be very bad, and it's going to swing back to Disney. Right now, Warner Brothers has the momentum, like when it comes to the superhero stuff, because people aren't really 100% on board with the MCU's next direction. Like, some people really like WandaVision, some people didn't. Some people kind of like the Winter Soldier and the Sam series. Other people hate it. So it's not that full, like, everybody's on board with the MCU. It's kind of a mixed thing right now. So Warner Brothers could easily turn the tables if they don't screw this up. But what are they going to do? They're probably going to screw this up. If I was working at HBO Max right now, I would do everything I could to get some type of announcement for the Snyderverse to continue so we don't lose all those subscriptions that we just got. Because those subscriptions aren't going to stay loyal and keep watching the Snyder Cut over and over again, because this is coming to Blu-ray and DVD within the next 2 to 3 months. And then there's going to be no reason to keep HBO Max. You need something that is going to be more interesting than the Titan series, that's going to be more interesting than Doom Patrol and all that other stuff, and that's going to be real star power like Ben Affleck and that Deathstroke thing. Without that, they're in big trouble. I'm just throwing it out there. This is just marketing related stuff.
Yeah, I would watch a show with Ben as Batman. He's great. Then they could just make that other guy like an Elseworlds Batman, like the whatever his name is.
So that's what I'm really concerned about, is if Warner Brothers drags their feet when right now they are holding absolute power like Palpatine, I just see them tripping on their Snuggie and then screwing everything up, because it's trending still. Restore the Snyder Cut is trending like every night, all over the world. Even places that really haven't been able to watch the Snyder Cut, in Japan and over in parts of Asia and parts of Europe, it's still trending.
Honestly, it's so good. Like, Batman Begins is probably one of my favorite DC films, one of my favorite movies of all time. And when I watched that, I was like, oh my gosh, Batman could be real in real life. This is one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. Actually, I said it was the coolest. Like, this could be like my favorite movie of all time. It's so good.
Tom, how can you have both Affleck and Patterson? Simple. Multiverse.
Multiverse.
Like, the WB executive is really pushing the multiverse. He's even said he's okay with multiple Batman and multiple Supermen. Because even in this movie, they added that line about the multiverse a couple different times. And yes, I know about the grayscale is going to have some additional scenes with Joker and Batman. It's going to have some other scenes, because that's how he shot the movie. He shoots the movie in black and white, and then he colorizes it or whatever. So there are scenes that they shot that are going to be added so people have to watch the movie again. That's what they're doing with the grayscale. There's like 1 or 2 new scenes, and then all these scenes plus an additional 3 scenes will be added to the DVD and Blu-ray in 2 to 3 months. So, I mean, I'm going to wait until the DVD and Blu-ray so I can actually watch the movie in not that 4-3 setup. I'm going to wait until they release the clips of Joker and maybe they're going to release that Alfred and Bruce Wayne scene in front of the damaged BVS like metal suit. But I don't want them to release that scene because they say Richard Grayson in it. And right now, we can have like kind of a shred of hope that maybe that scene won't get released and the dead Robin won't be Grayson. But you know what's going to happen, so...
Yeah, just pretend. I'll just put a little post-it note. We'll pretend it's Jason.
I mean, I think it's a really cool scene, like him actually showing both the destroyed Batmobile or in the Batcave that he's working on, and the melted suit from when he fought Superman is there. So it, you know, it's nice that Snyder has this this thing about like continuity and things like that. So that's cool. But yeah,
I'm just here because you have my phone.
I stole your phone. Yeah. Yeah, well, Richard Grayson took a big L in the Snyderverse because he was actually an older guy. He wasn't a teenager when he died. He was like 25 or 26. And he was still Robin. Sorry. He was still Robin.
I mean, there's hardly anything else to say. I mean,
yeah, I mean, we've literally covered like everything there is.
Everyone was so good in it. I mean, you could go on for hours to talk about how good everyone was in it.
Yeah, I'm kind of
everyone was perfect. Like, there's no actor that didn't do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they all did fantastic, and every scene was like written perfectly. Like, this movie was just like perfection.
What happened to Doomsday's body after BVS? You don't really know, but apparently there were supposed to be more Doomsdays in the storyboards. So the scene where Lex is giving information to, what's his name, Steppenwolf, they're actually trading information. Lex is giving the DNA analysis or whatever to Steppenwolf so they can make an army of Doomsdays. And Steppenwolf is telling... Lex about, you know, Darkseid and, you know, hatching a plan together to invade Earth, which would play out in later Justice League movies. Since Steppenwolf isn't here, Lex is going to be that guy on Earth that is, like, you know, really pushing the League and trying to usher in Darkseid, you know, coming, so.
Yeah, I agree. Like Barry and Cyborg were probably my least favorite characters. In the original Justice League, they were my most favorite characters. In the Snyderverse, they were freaking awesome. Whoever said that, they were, because they were so much fun to watch. Like, they were like the heart of the movie.
So Amber automatically doesn't like Marvel movies because she's a DC fangirl. Amber likes some Marvel movies.
No, I just don't like Marvel movies. I've never liked them because they have bad... Look at what Joss Whedon did to Zack Snyder's. He tried to make it a Marvel movie. He tried to make everyone argue about stupid things for no reason. If I told you all the reasons I don't like Marvel movies, you guys would probably leave the channel and never talk to me again. Because I could go on for like hours and days about how many horrible things.
Hot take!
I think Marvel movies are badly written, and I don't like them. They're not funny.
Ooh, okay.
And they're not enjoyable to watch, so
that's
why I don't like them.
Oh, and Amber runs away. She says her piece and then she's gone. Smoke bomb. Holy crap, Amber. Amber rant! I heard back in 2017 there was a scene where Bruce and Diana go to Lex and Arkham to get information in the mother boxes. There was a scene that was shot for Bruce and Diana. There were several, but not all of them made it into the movie. There's supposed to be more Wonder Bat elements over the course, because originally the romance idea was between Superman and Lois and Batman and Lois. Like, Batman was going to get with Lois during her time of grief, and the baby inside of her would have been Bruce's baby, and that's part of the reason why Superman goes crazy, because, you know, Lois betrayed him, all this other stuff. That never, thankfully, made it to film, so the other thing that they really wanted to push was Wonder Bat, and there were supposed to be more instances of Wonder Woman and Batman teasing a relationship, but at the same time, Wonder Woman is not over Steve Trevor yet, because, you know, Wonder Woman 84 has not happened in this continuity. So, you know. Amber is forever banned. No, Amber can come back whenever she wants. Wonder Bat for life, that's right. Batman with guns irritate me. Yeah, a little bit, but what can you do? Amber not a Firefly fan? I don't think she's ever seen Firefly. Firefly isn't DC. No, honey, not the DC villain. Firefly, the sci-fi show with Nathan Fillion. No, but it's a great sci-fi series. K-Wing, what did you think of Batman and Joker scene? I thought it was okay. I mean, there was supposed to be more scenes to it that you'll see in the grayscale. I mean, if you guys really want to watch the 4-hour movie again, there'll be stuff with that. You'll get more Batman and Joker.
I don't like Marvel characters because they showboat. That's the difference between Marvel and DC.
Serenity is a better series. Ben Affleck at the end looked like older Christian Bale. Well, I mean, okay, the last 10 or 15 minutes of the movie is all new footage. So, I mean, Ben Affleck is older because all that other stuff was shot 4 years ago. So Ben Affleck, even Ben Affleck on this picture right now, that's not young Affleck. That's Snydercut Nightmare Affleck that you guys are seeing. He looks older because the actor is older. Even Affleck wasn't even that big anymore. Like he was losing weight for a different job. So, if Leto was dropped as Joker, who would you want to replace him, K-Wing? I don't know. I want to see Leto like finish out his Joker, but I don't want him to be the star of Batman's. They're adding more scenes to the black and white version. 2 scenes, Grim. That's the rumor. 1 more Joker scene and 1 Alfred and Batman scene, if it makes it in time. If not, then you can watch the Alfred and Batman scene if they put it on the DVD and Blu-ray. Justice League 2 and 3 need to be shot back to back. Yes, they do, Andrew. Which soundtrack did you prefer? I'm not a big fan of junkie stuff usually, but I really like the soundtrack in this. Wonder Woman's theme sounded so much better in this movie. The music was really great. Junkie, like, I don't know what he did, but he did a great job.
It was very emotional.
I really like the soundtrack. Do I think that Blue Beetle, Shazam, and Black Adam are considered canon in the Snyder Cut? No.
Cyborg should be canon.
The gray version of Justice League is supposed to either come out next week or the first couple weeks of April, unless it gets pushed.
Well, I really hope they bring Cyborg back.
I thought it was supposed to come out this week, and then they had issues with it, so they didn't release it. If it's not Bruce's baby, so Flash goes back to tell Bruce, hey, sacrifice yourself because Superman is emotional. When you make it sound like that, you kind of like ruin all the character growth that Batman has to go through. Because remember, this is a Batman essentially at the end of his life. Like, there's really nothing left for him. He has Alfred, and I mean, he gives up a life with Diana, obviously, because he's going to sacrifice himself, which is going to suck. But maybe, I'm just spitballing here, what if Darkseid doesn't hit him with the Omega beams, but the Omega Sanctum, and sends Bruce back in time, and we get a Bruce Wayne time travel? Okay, yeah, that's dumb. Never mind. I just don't want Affleck to die, man. I don't want him to be just skeleton Batman. Come on, send him back in time. Let's do that. Let's have Zack Snyder have Batman through the ages. Did you like the return of Superman's theme in his fight with Steppenwolf? Yes. I love Superman in this movie. He was great. He was fantastic. Final Crisis, bro. That's right. Up top, Phoenix. Does anybody feel bad for Steppenwolf? I kind of did. Because Steppenwolf just wanted to go home. But in a way, he got to go home. As a corpse.
Oh yeah, best part of the movie, Wonder Woman chopping off his head. It was awesome.
Yeah. I don't want Ben Affleck's Batman to die either. I love Ben's Batman. Yeah, it's probably going to happen.
Say that on the mic or no?
I'm going to... I hope Ben Affleck stays alive as Batman. I'm glad you talked yourself out of that possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, best part of the ending of the Snyder Cut was Wonder Woman, like, taking off Steppenwolf's head, because that was amazing. Like,
what would I rate this movie? I'd give it a 9. Probably 9.5. It still has some things in there that's not a perfect 10 for me. Sorry. I'm too hard to please.
What things? What wasn't a perfect 10?
I hold grudges, okay? I know about this universe, so there's certain things that I can never give Snyder a 10. Ever!
It gets a 10 from me.
No!
It's his vision. You can't, like...
Yes, I can.
You can't take points off.
Yes, I can. I can take points off. I can take points off.
I will take points off if Cyborg doesn't come back.
Yeah, I'll take points off if Cyborg's not back
Everybody
either.
has to come back. Barry... I don't care about the I don't care about the other characters. Like, if they switch Lois, that's fine, whatever. But, you know, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, like, Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher, and Ben Affleck, like, all the main people of the Justice League, they have to come back. Oh, I forgot. I keep forgetting Aquaman and Jason Momoa. Like, they all have to come back.
Do I beat my girlfriend? I don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah, he better not have a girlfriend.
Wait, do I? No.
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 Why would he have a girlfriend? What are you talking about?
K-Wing, has this movie great, but Endgame was still better? I like this movie more than Endgame. I was more invested into this movie. I fell asleep during Endgame. I went to the theaters and I fell asleep. So, I mean, I was wide awake during this movie, which was surprising because it was longer. But I was worried that Amber was going to fall asleep, like, watching this movie. And then, like, I heard her, like, self-narrating the movie, and she was just so into it. Like, I woke up on a couple times because I'd already seen it twice, and I went to bed. And then she did her live stream, and then she watched, like, the movie. And then she's doing this cute little thing where I wake up, and she's, like, saying... I remember certain parts where she's yelling at the TV at certain scenes, and then she's cheering at others. It's just so adorable.
Well, like, the end, like, they were like, oh my gosh, we're not gonna make it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really thought that, like, Cyborg, Barry, and, like, Batman were gonna die, and maybe only, like, Wonder Woman and Superman were gonna make it out or something. And, you know, he was just like, oh my gosh, we didn't make it. I was so depressed. And then it was like, and then he's, like, healing. Am I allowed to give spoilers? Like, he's, like, healing.
This is a spoiler review.
And he's, like, healing. He's sitting here healing, and I'm just thinking, what is he doing? Like, all hope is lost. What are you doing, Barry? And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh. Then I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna go back in time. Oh my gosh. Like, it's like, I, like, realized what he was gonna do, and I was like, oh my gosh. And, like, Cyborg is sitting here shouting, like, Barry! And then I'm like, Luke is trying to sleep, and I'm screaming at the TV, run, Barry, run, run! Like, I'm, like, screaming it over and over and over again, like, I don't know why, but I was just like, come on, you have, oh my gosh, it was like, I could not believe it, because it's like Barry was, like, the character that people thought wasn't as important. Yep. He was just the Flash. Cyborg had all these amazing powers. Superman, Wonder Woman, like, Aquaman, they were all super powerful. And Barry was just kind of fast or whatever. And that was it. He didn't have any combat experience or anything. And it was like, oh my gosh, Barry and Cyborg are, like, gonna save the entire Justice League. Like, this is insane. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I did not expect that ending at all. And it was just like, oh my gosh, because he knew he accidentally went back in time one time. He didn't know. And then he realized, oh my gosh, I can go back in time. Oh my gosh. It was like, oh my gosh, I just could not believe what was happening. I was like, Barry, you can do this. Like, he needed me to shout at the screen. And then, like, Luke woke up and he's like, everything okay? And I was just like, run, Barry, run! Like, I'm, like, about to cry, like, sitting here. Like, I was not okay after watching it. I'm just like, I need a week to recover from watching this movie. I told Luke, I cannot believe I just saw this movie for $10 on HBO Max. Like, I should have paid $100 to watch this movie. This was the most amazing movie I've ever seen in my life. Right, I'm done.
What are my favorite Marvel movies? I like the Captain America trilogy. I like Thor Ragnarok. I like the first Iron Man. And I like the Black Panther movie. And that's maybe Infinity War, but I'm not sure. All the others... Oh, and one of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't remember which one.
I like the one where...
Whoa, are you okay?
I'm fine. I like the one where Captain America and, okay. I like the one where Captain America and Black Widow were kind of a thing, and it was cute.
So Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, Amber likes the Winter Soldier movie. So Captain America 2. The part that got me freaked out was Cyborg seeing the future. Yeah, And you guys will have to go back and watch the scene where Cyborg sees the future. I really feel like when Barry's telling him, "What do you want me to do?" He doesn't say go. He says, "Barry, no," because he sees what's going to happen. Like the Kryptonian ship is showing him, or what? Maybe Martian Manhunter was like messing with his mind or something. Who knows?
May I say why Cyborg was so good in this movie?
Yeah, just watch where you don't trip, honey.
Alright, I'm just gonna say why I thought Cyborg was so good because,
Okay.
like, before, like you've seen Cyborg in the Teen Titans and stuff, right? And all these different things, but you never think of like how much pain, like no one has ever put on film how much pain that he had to figure out how to, cope with being a cyborg. But like you saw the scene like that Zack put in where he was trying to, where like basically his dad was like, you can learn to use your powers. And whenever his dad came home, then he was just like, whatever, dad, like I hate you. But then like when his dad was out, he actually went to the roof and was trying to work on his powers, and I was like about to cry because it's like he was trying so hard, but he looked like you could actually see his little face like struggling, and like I don't know why, I just like was so like touched by that. I'm trying to, like, I felt so like the entire movie I wanted to give Cyborg a hug like 1,000 times over.
Careful, you're gonna spill.
Because it was like so terrible.
I know. Tissues are over there, sweetie.
I also thought it was sweet when Barry was talking to his dad. It was just like everything was so like there were so many heartfelt, emotional moments, like that I almost cried. Like even in the first hour, it was just like so amazing, like the way that they did it. Like when Barry was like, don't you ever say that again, Dad," because his dad was like, "You should just forget about me." But
well, Silas had to die because originally he was going to, mark the mother box from a safe distance, but when Steppenwolf was coming, he had to make the choice of going in there and locking it from the inside, which he knew the radiation would kill him, but it would be the only way that he could save the Earth, because he knew that the mother box was going to fall into the wrong hands.
yeah.
And there would be no way that the League or his son could find it. So, he did the most heroic thing in the movie. He gave his own life.
Yeah, and like I think that scene was so amazingly, like all the scenes were amazingly acted, because like even when his own father died, like some people didn't know that was his dad, because Cyborg was like so distant from everybody that nobody even had any idea that was his father. Like he just never opened up to anyone, and like it took somebody to be like, "Dude, his father just died." Like,
will Justice League 2 ever happen? I don't know if Zack Snyder's going to direct it, but HBO Max is very interested. Like 2 months ago, when Zack Snyder was interviewed, they asked him, "Is there a possibility for a Justice League 2?" He flat out said no. A month ago, he said that would be up to HBO Max. Now, he had an interview 2 days ago, like right after his movie released, and he said that there is a possibility it could continue, but I don't know if I'm going to direct it. So, even Snyder knows that this Restore the Snyderverse movement is bigger than he is. It's bigger than WB. There is a big executive at HBO Max that everybody is waiting on to see what they say. Even Grace, who I don't really always get along with Beyond Trailer, but she has better contacts than I do at Warner Brothers and other like areas of film. I only have WB. She's got everybody. She keeps hearing that there's like 1 or 2 executives at HBO Max that are aware of the movement, the Restore the Snyder Cut. They're watching the reception of what's going on, and they could make an announcement pretty much at any time. Like they might be waiting till the summer, but the people that we need to impress with the Restore the Snyderverse thing is like just a couple executives at HBO to make this happen. And they are very pleased with the reception of the movie so far and the amount of subscriptions it's drummed up. But I'm telling you right now, yet again, the Titans being on HBO Max and Doom Patrol and a couple other exclusive shows is not going to be enough for people to keep their subscriptions. You need to have a Game of Thrones type of Snyderverse to keep people invested. And that is what all these people came for. They came for this universe. DC fans signed up for this universe. And they're not just going to keep watching this movie over and over again when Warner Brothers releases it on DVD in a couple months. Because they're going to. Like, they hate the 2017 movie. The new executives at Warner Brothers do not like the Whedon cut. Like, they're going to do everything they can to replace it with this movie. So,
Yeah,
you know.
but that is like when you came down the stairs and I was done watching it. That was, I actually did burst into tears because I was like, I liked the movie, but why did Cyborg's dad have to die? I was like,
We already
so,
talked about Super Baby. That was a while ago.
It was so. I wish they could bring. I even said to Luke, like, if they could bring Superman to life, why couldn't they bring Cyborg's dad to life?
Because he's not. There was nothing left of him.
I know, but.
I mean, the only Flash didn't learn time travel until later on, and he can't even if he risks going too far back. What if the world gets destroyed again? Silas is gone, unfortunately, and Ray ends up getting his job, or Ryan does. So
I just felt so like. I felt so much for Cyborg that it's like if they don't have him in the next movie, I feel like I'm gonna die. Because it's like he helped save the world with all the rest of the Justice League people.
Yeah, but I mean, never say never to Justice League Part 2 people, because we don't know what's happening now. Like, before it was a hardcore no, then it was a maybe, and now it's a possibility. So in a month, that could change back to no again. Warner Brothers is watching and listening to people right now. They are soaking in like all this attention. HBO Max is loving all the attention to their service and the reception of the movie. It did really well on Rotten Tomatoes. I know a lot of people say Rotten Tomatoes doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to fans, but in terms of the film industry, Rotten Tomatoes is just as important as Metacritic. And if your movie doesn't do well on Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic or that other film scoring site, then you're pretty much done. And that movie is sitting at close to a fresh rating with a very, very high user rating. And that kind of stuff helps movies be made. Like, it just does. I know that I don't like Rotten Tomatoes. Not just that I'm not a certified critic on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not that bitter. But it's a very important aspect of the film industry for like the past 15 years. That can always change. There could be a better site later on. But this is what Hollywood uses to basically, rate their stuff about what gets a sequel and, what continues and what doesn't. So, it's just kind of what it is.
The movie was so good.
But the reception is very high for a sequel, and as long as the Restore the Snyderverse people don't stop, they're going to have to trend, for weeks, though. They can't give up. Just like when they kept, going with the Snyder Cut. Like, HBO Max is going to need to see that there's interest in this well after, the Snyder Cut is basically phased out by Godzilla, which I'm very excited about in a couple weeks. Actually, next week. Next week's a Godzilla versus King Kong.
Godzilla is a good movie, but it's not anything compared to that.
No, I mean, I just mean that they have this thing where unless it's exclusive and it's always going to be on there, they only keep movies that are supposed to be in theaters for about 3 weeks.
What should we do?
And then they replace it with another one.
Should we have one of our tablets, everybody at home have one of our tablets constantly play the Snyder Cut day in and day out? 24/7?
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
But everybody did so well, like, even like I want to say the older actors, but the other members of the Justice League did so well. It's just that people were so surprised with Cyborg and Barry because they cut so many of their parts that, like, they were completely different in this one. Oh.
Somebody's asking, what is my favorite Marvel movie of all time? It's Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. That's the best Marvel movie.
Spider-Man are Marvel movies. I forgot.
Yeah. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 is the best. Hands down. And my favorite DC movie now, it might be tied between Dark Knight and Snydercut. Very close. Like, I love the Nolan trilogy, but if you combine the Nolan trilogy, it's almost the entire length of the Snyder Cut. Like, the three Batman movies is almost the length of the Snyder Cut. Like, to watch them all together.
Fun Marvel movies that I think I've ever watched is Ant-Man. That was one of my favorites to watch. But all the Marvel movies are decent. I've never had any, like, emotional attachment to any of them.
What is my least favorite Marvel movie or MCU movie? My least favorite Marvel movie would be Elektra. My least favorite MCU movie would be Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Would be let's see. I didn't like Doctor Strange. I didn't like Thor 2, Thor 1. I didn't
Whoa.
Yeah, I didn't like Thor 1 or 2. I liked Thor 3.
Interesting.
Let's see. I don't know if I liked the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie either. It was kind of cringy for me. I like the first one. But
yeah.
I mean,
Guardians
I don't
of the
have
Galaxy one was pretty good.
I don't have hardcore hatred for MCU though. Their movies are okay to me. I have a couple that I really like, but I don't watch them over and over again.
They don't like connect. They don't like have like profound meaning or connect with me at all. Like there's no.
Oh yeah, Captain Marvel's probably my least favorite. Like out of the MCU, I would probably watch Iron Man 2 or Thor 1 over Captain Marvel any day. I did not like it. It was super cringe. Thor 2 is pretty forgettable, but yeah. I will never watch Daredevil or Elektra and the Fantastic Four movies. I would watch the Fantastic Four movies again with Jessica Alba, but I won't watch the Silver Surfer one because that was really weird. And I'll never watch X-Men: The Last Stand again. I can't. I just don't like it. Probably X-Men Origins Wolverine I wouldn't watch again either.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the new like Wolverine's like younger like version of like himself, like the little girl Wolverine. Did she come out in a movie or she already did that? Oh, that was
Logan.
A long time ago.
That was you're thinking of Logan.
That was Logan.
Yeah.
I didn't actually see that.
Least favorite DC movie, Batman and Robin. Steel. I would have said 2017 Justice League is up there now because I view that as a parody movie now.
It's still better than most Marvel movies.
I'm gonna disagree with you there, but anyway, guys,
DC characters in it.
do you have a few remaining questions? Because I have to try to nab a network call. I did like Ant-Man. I like the first Ant-Man movie. How can you not like bat nipples? I just don't. Are you going to get the new Justice League figures from McFarlane's Toys? Probably not. I'm not really rolling in dough right now. Yeah, I mean, Martian Manhunter was weak in the movie and didn't do anything because, I mean, aside from the Martha Kent thing, they really had no plans to use Martian Manhunter in the Snyder universe until Justice League 2 or 3. So, I mean, he was only supposed to appear hinted at like the other Justice League members were in BVS. Like, the only appearance of Martian Manhunter in the original storyboards for Justice League was the General and the Martha Kent thing. That was it. He was never supposed to meet Batman. That was Green Lantern and Kilowog. Always. There was Green Lantern and Kilowog.
I like how he just basically had a cameo because it's like, whoa, who's that? And he's suddenly gone. It's like,
yeah, the Green Lanterns at the lake house was always a thing. Martian Manhunter was only supposed to appear as a shapeshifter, and then one time he leaves as, according to the storyboards for the original Justice League, he visits Lois, and then he transforms into, or Martha Kent transforms into him, he transforms back to the General, and that was it. That was supposed to be a tease that Martian Manhunter exists in this universe, and then by the second or third movie, he appears, like, as Martian Manhunter. They were trying to establish the character and then show him later on. That's what the plan was.
Yeah, what did you think of, like, how he looked when he was all alien-like and green when he appeared before?
I didn't like the CGI.
Oh, really?
No, the CGI didn't look very good. They can polish and fix that before the Blu-ray.
Oh, I thought he looked cool.
You know what it reminded me of? I'm an anime fan, so the difference between watching Dragon Ball Super when it aired as a syndicated show, like through, simulcast, and then being able to see when it was uploaded later with the Blu-ray, that's the kind of comparison that I'm making to Martian Manhunter right now. He looks good, but he'll look better on the Blu-ray. Just like they polished off what Goku and the characters look like when it aired on television for Dragon Ball Super, and they fixed it a little bit. They still have some time to improve Martian Manhunter before he's finalized on the Blu-ray. And I think they can make him look a little bit better. Not a lot better, but just a little bit. That's how I would make that comparison. So, do you think they're going to do anything with Shazam in this Justice League? I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, this Justice League might not continue, guys. We don't know.
I think
it would be stupid for them not to continue it.
I mean, it would be hard to merge Shazam into this universe because Zachary Levi is kind of like Marvel-y.
Yeah, Snyder did bring Jim Gordon back from the dead. He could change the dead Robin, except he's adamant that the dead Robin is Dick Grayson. He won't budge. That's why I don't like him.
Just make yourself a new version of his movie where every time he says Dick Grayson, you dub over the words.
Jason Todd. Alfred, we need to talk about Jason Todd. I miss Jason Todd so much. I know, Master Wayne. Jason Todd was one of the best.
Can I say something? Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're out to leave.
Yeah, we gotta go.
I love that. I love how Alfred and Batman interact because, like, the fact that Alfred doesn't have to wear his butler outfit all the time. He can wear comfy, like, a little jacket and, like, a little sweater and stuff. But he still takes care of Bruce. And, like, the fact that when Bruce introduced everyone to Alfred, he was like, oh, I work for him. I thought that was really sweet. I really liked their relationship and stuff. It was cute. There's so many things I liked about the movie. I'm gonna go over here.
Barbara Gordon or Batgirl is going to show up on HBO Max. That's already confirmed. I don't know if she's part of the Snyderverse of the DCU. We don't know anything yet. So, I mean...
The only question I had for Luke after I was done watching it was like, why was Barry creepily touching that girl's hair and staring at her?
Because it was Iris.
I was like, that's so weird. I was like, I hope she never finds out about that. And Luke's like, I was like, come to think of it, she was staring at him too. Luke's like, yeah, they're destined to be together. It's Iris. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I can't say Henry Cavill's name right. I know it's like Cavill or whatever, but we like Henry as Superman. We want to see more of Superman, but I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. I think that is a great spoiler thing. We did 2 hours, something like that. YouTube's giving us a warning that we're at a low bit rate or whatever. Whatever, YouTube. Go home, you're drunk. But thanks so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry about the mic issues. Can't really be helped, but yeah, I streamed for quite a while. I need to try to grab my network guy and see if we can fix some of the things I'm concerned about. But you guys have a wonderful night. Thanks so much. I'm going to play the outro, and thanks again for the super chats. Thanks for listening to a very long podcast, and we'll be talking more about the Snyder Cut and hopefully a Justice League sequel pretty soon. And thanks for hanging out with everybody. All right, guys, have a great night. See you tomorrow. Well, not on this channel. I'll be playing Legend of Zelda and stuff on my other channel, so go over there tomorrow. Or go over there right now and watch if you're bored. Head over to my K-Wings Let's Plays and check out the Legend of Zelda stream that aired about, I don't know, 3 hours ago. All right, guys. Later.